to today's Tampa City Council meeting. At this time, I'd like to call this meeting to order. For invocation, we'll just have a moment of silence. If we could please stand and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you very much. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll have roll call, please.
Carlson. Here. Hurtak.
Here.
Clendenin.
Here.
Henderson.
Present.
Vieira.
Here.
Miranda.
Here.
And Maniscalco.
Here.
We have a physical quorum.
Mr. Shelby, did you want to go over some rules and procedures?
Sure, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much. Good morning, City Council, Mr. Chairman, members of the public. Martin Shelby, Tampa City Council Attorney. I'd like to very briefly review for you the rules of decorum for the conduct of today's meeting. Now, you will have the opportunity to be heard today. If you're here to speak on an item that's set on your agenda for public comment, the time to speak to that is when that public comment is open during the public hearing at the time the item is called up to be heard. If you're here to speak on something that is the consent agenda or a staff report, the time to talk about this is early in the agenda during a period that's called general public comment. And in order to be able to have the opportunity to speak during general public comment, we ask that you fill out a speaker card, which is available in the lobby. And what you do is you place it in the box with one card per speaker. And those cards are accepted until the start of general public comment. And as you see on your agenda today, there are certain items that we're going to be discussing in advance of general public comment, so you do have the time to fill out that card. Each person submitting a card will be recognized by name to approach and speak. A 3-minute time limit applies. Please print your card legibly. Names that cannot be read will not be called. And if you need assistance, we have city staff out there to be able to help you in the process and to help you fill out that card. So if you need assistance, please see the city staff. With regard to decorum, we ask that the public refrain from disruptive behavior, including making disruptive noises or holding disruptive signs. Now, if someone is found to be engaging in disruptive behavior, the chair may rule that person out of order. And if that person is ruled out of order, council rules allow that person to be removed from these chambers for the remainder of today's meeting. So please remain mindful. Also, please know that City Council does not engage in a dialogue during public comment. There are no questions and answers that City Council can engage in. So please be aware of that. And we ask that you be mindful of these rules of decorum. Also, Council, the chair has asked me to remind you to remember that to wait to be recognized by the chair before you begin speaking. And thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. All right, can I get...
Mr. Chairman, just one more thing.
Yes.
And I just want to remind Council, because this is a new rule that's been in place, please do not interrupt presentations during the presentation. Wait for the appropriate time during the meeting to ask your questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We need a motion to adopt the minutes from the regular session on June 20th, 2024, and the workshop and evening sessions of June 27, 2024. Motion by Councilmember Clendenin, second by Councilmember Henderson. All in favor? Aye. All right, we're going to go over the agenda real quick as we approve it. Item number 3 is going to be heard after public comment. Item number 5 is going to be heard after public comment. Item number 4 is a request by Councilmember Vieira to continue this item. Sir, do you have a date for item number 4?
I'm sorry, I'm looking. It's not. Oh, sorry, there it is. Oh, yes, sir. So I am going to be, I'll address that. I'm going to have to continue that to another time because I'm looking to change the rules on who is eligible for the Budget Advisory Committee. So I'll address that in new business if I may.
Okay.
So I'm going to remove that from the agenda for right now to save time. Now, I don't want to address that to save everybody's time. I'll do it during new business.
We have a motion from Councilman Vieira, second from Councilman Miranda. All in favor?
Aye.
So that'll be addressed then. So we have a memo to remove item number,
Strike that. I'm so sorry, Mr. Chair. I'm sorry. I was supposed to move Mr. Greco to August 1st, so my apologies.
okay, so we will continue item number 4 to August 1st.
Yes, sir.
Motion from Councilmember Vieira, second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor? Aye. All right. We received a memo requesting item number 10 be removed from the agenda. It will be returned at a future date. We have a motion from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor? Aye. All right. Item number 27 is a request by Councilmember Vieira to pull it for discussion. Staff does not need to be present.
Yes, sir.
Would you like to move it to staff reports or when we do consent?
Consent's fine, or
All
staff,
right.
whatever's easier.
So we'll pull item number 27 for discussion. Staff will not need to be present. We have a motion from Councilmember Vieira. Do we have a second? Second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 91, we're going to hold until we hear 100 and 101. So after we do 100 and 101, we'll go to item number 91. If someone wants to make the motion.
So moved.
Motion from Councilmember Henderson, second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor? Aye. We have a request, a memo, that item number 92 be continued to August 1st. May I have a motion? Motion from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor? Aye. Councilmember Hurtak has sent a memo requesting that item number 120 be removed from the agenda. Is that correct?
Yes, and I will have a motion to replace it
Okay.
at the end of the day.
All right, so we have a motion from Councilmember Hurtak to remove item number 120 from the agenda, second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then we have a motion requesting item number 126 be removed from the agenda. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion. Actually, it'll be removed from the agenda. This is going to be discussed at the August 8th
Yeah.
CRA session. So we have a motion from Councilmember Henderson, second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, let me go through staff reports, starting with 115. Let me know if we need staff present. 115? Yes. Yes for 115. Yes for 116. 117? Yes. All right, 118. Do we need staff present? We do have a
Oh,
memo from the
if
chief of police
that's-
and the fire.
That's mine, if I may. So I'm going to address some of these issues during new business, but for right now, for item number 18, I spoke with the fire chief, and she informs me that she's still in the process of implementing some of the prior report recommendations and would prefer more time before conferring with another consultant. Being that this is returning for an annual report in March 27th of 2025, she requested that she could bring forward a consultant quote with a name at that time for council's consideration. So at this time, I do request to have this received and filed, but I am going to bring this up, including requests yes, sir, to have this return on March 27th with specific instructions, as well as requests from Local 754 for some information for their report at that time. So again, just to not have a discussion.
So we're going to receive and file item number 118, motion from Councilmember Vieira, second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, number 119, staff will be present. 120 has been addressed. Item 121, there is an in-person presentation, so that's a yes. Item number 122, Councilman Vieira, that's your motion. Do you want staff present?
No.
No staff present for 122. Item number 123, we're requesting a continuance to August 22nd.
Yes, sir. So actually, I'm going to go one further. For item 23, I've spoken to staff and we've resolved this issue. So I'm actually, to not clog up council's agenda, I'm actually just moving to have this received and filed, and this does not need to be addressed further.
Okay, we have a motion from Councilmember Vieira, second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor? Aye. Item number 124, there is a request to continue this to October 17, 2024.
moved.
We have a motion from Councilmember Vieira, second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor? Aye. All right, item number 125, there's a request to continue to October 4th. Motion from Councilmember Vieira. Do we have a second? Second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor? Aye. All right, we took care of item 126. Item 127, there's a motion or request to continue to October 3rd, 2024. Motion from Councilmember Clendenin, second from?
Viera.
Councilmember Vieira, all in favor? Aye. Okay. That settles that. May I have a motion to approve the agenda and the addendum? We have a motion from Councilmember Henderson, second from Councilmember Clendenin, all in favor? Aye. Thank you very much. Mayor Castro, we have your presentation. Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
All right, good morning. Council Chair Maniscalco, City Council, and to the public here today, I am very pleased to be here to present the 2025 budget. Before I get into the presentation, I do just want to talk for a moment about what goes into crafting this budget. We have spent hours upon hours over several months going over every single line, issue by issue, to come up with this budget. And I tell you, I couldn't be more proud of our staff members, as I am every budget year, in the effort that goes into crafting a budget that not only provides for the services for our community, but also is a fiscally responsible budget. So I hope that's what you all find today, but I just wanted to publicly commend our group, because there were many late Friday nights that we sat and went issue over issue and had to make some cuts that, some of our staff members didn't want to see, but for the good of our community, they did what needed to be done. So the FY 2025 budget theme is community values, and you will find that the proposed budget reflects the shared beliefs and aspirations of our residents in building a Tampa of tomorrow that is prosperous, sustainable, and affordable. It reflects the priorities that residents in each council district have told us every year in our community values survey, and what we've all heard from each of you, from our neighbors at the grocery store, during civic meetings, and also at the ballot box, that they want our city to have a high quality of life, safe neighborhoods, and a solid foundation that is built on resilient infrastructure. That they want us to be a city that provides quality services, embraces fiscal responsibility, and makes decisions strategically. A city that respects the dignity of hard work, expands opportunities for better jobs, and provides an environment that is supportive of entrepreneurship and economic growth. They want the city of Tampa to prepare for the future while at the same time addressing today's needs. Many of those challenges are the result of our success and growth. We have more drivers out on our roads, more competition for a limited supply of housing, and a shortage of skilled workers in many industries. In 2023, we had the highest millennial population growth rate in the nation, with nearly twice as many millennials moving to Tampa as moving away. We are the only big city in Florida with a positive net migration of Gen Z residents under 28. And I can tell you that those statistics make me feel very, very old. But it speaks to the vibrant growth of our community. When it comes to infrastructure, we have two jobs as city government: to maintain what we have and to build what we need. Both are equally important and must be done concurrently. Infrastructure, including water, solid waste, and transportation, but it also talks about parks and facilities. This budget acknowledges the importance of maintaining the high level of services, picking up the trash on time, keeping our streets and parks clean, fixing it fast when it comes to potholes, and continuing to be one of the safest cities our size in the nation by investing in our police and fire. The great news is that our residents trust city government to address these big issues. And you will see our city value survey here. According to the preliminary data from our 2024 Community Values Survey, over 97% of residents express trust in their city government. These numbers are consistent with the results from the previous 4 years. Likewise, an overwhelming majority of respondents continue to say that Tampa is a great place to start and operate a business, and that they would also recommend Tampa as a place to live to their family and friends. Over 99% of those surveyed expected to be living in Tampa in the next 5 years. That level of trust in government is not only remarkable, but it's also been consistently high here in the city of Tampa. This 2025 budget is centered around our 5 key strategies for transforming Tampa's tomorrow: strengthening the services for our residents, enhancing workforce development, ensuring that we have housing that is affordable, and focusing on sustainability and resiliency. Now, before we go through this budget in more detail, I'd like to lay the groundwork for this discussion. This is a status quo budget. Revenues have risen by about the same amount as the city's costs, so we are not expanding. This ballot will look familiar to some council members that have been around for a while. City is able to maintain our current level of services with very little left over. As you know, higher interest rates have slowed down growth in ad valorem tax revenue. Between 2019 and 2023, we saw nearly a 40% increase in the cost for many goods and services that we purchase for our city. Governments have had to be much more competitive in terms of pay and benefits to ensure that we can retain and attract a very strong team here in Tampa. Good news, Tampa's economy is strong. Our inflation is now at a low 1.8%. Unemployment's very low. Incomes have outpaced inflation for average workers. New businesses are being created, and household wealth has increased, especially for homeowners. I'm extremely proud of our staff for thinking creatively about how to accomplish more with less. The influx of funding related to COVID is over, but we continue to secure significant federal and state dollars to help pay for major infrastructure projects. Through the bipartisan infrastructure law, the federal government is investing historic levels of funding into infrastructure, and I am committed to making sure that Tampa residents get our fair share of tax dollars returned to our community. I'd like to thank Congresswoman Castor and the Biden administration for their support of Tampa's infrastructure projects. Thanks to our hard work and fiscal discipline, Tampa continues to have some of the best bond ratings in the entire nation. And frankly, I wish that my report cards had had so many A's on them. My parents would have been much happier. Bonding is quite often compared to pay-go, which means saving up over 30 years to pay for a project. But bonded projects are completed and can be utilized decades sooner. And we all know if we were to save up over 30 years to pay for a project, the price of that project would also increase during those 30 years. Bonding also allows us to spread the cost of a project over decades so that the generations using that infrastructure can also contribute to the cost of building it. Because of our great bond ratings, we have lower interest payments, and this is saving our taxpayers millions of dollars each year. Transportation continues to be a top priority. Data from the Community Values Survey shows that 4 out of 5 of the top areas where residents see a need for improvement are related to transportation, including pedestrian and bike safety, traffic congestion, and the condition of our streets, and flooding. In the first 3 quarters of this budget year, we've resurfaced 33 miles of streets in 9 neighborhoods and doubled the size of our in-house paving team. Since 2019, we've filled over 11,000 potholes and paved 140 miles of streets. The in-house paving team is saving taxpayers millions of dollars and dramatically accelerating the resurfacing projects. Pedestrians and bicycle safety rank as a top transportation priority for our city residents. By working together and leveraging federal and state dollars, this administration, along with City Council, are making historic progress implementing our Walk, Bike, and Vision Zero plans. In 2025, we will complete the remaining phases of the Green Spine Bike Trail connecting east to west Tampa. We're working with FDOT to complete bikeways along Central Avenue and Ola, connecting Seminole Heights to Tampa Heights, and we're connecting Sulphur Springs and Seminole Heights to East Tampa as well, all through our Green Spine bikeways. The new West River Walk is where our east-west and north-south networks will come together, linking people to jobs, schools, and activities. We appreciate how the community came together to advocate for the $24 million in federal funds that we were able to secure for this project. And as you know, we're getting ready to break ground on that. The West River Walk is more than a transformational linear park and world-class bike pedestrian trail. It is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to protect public access to the entire West Tampa riverfront, and that will be for generations to come to enjoy that. That West River Walk is going to be a game changer for our community. We're going to move forward with exciting quick build projects as part of our Vision Zero initiative citywide on our high injury network, including many that are funded through the federal Safe Streets for All program. These include new safety improvements like crosswalks and bike lanes I talked about. We will also be filling critical sidewalk gaps identified in the MOVES plan as part of a $2 million design build project. We just received a $24 million federal RAISE grant to move forward with the Bermuda Boulevard seawall improvements in Palmetto Beach. This will help protect a low-lying neighborhood from flooding while improving safety throughout that neighborhood. I'm pleased to announce that the RFQ is being released for the streetcar extension, which will be a game changer for the communities that connect Ybor City to Channelside to Water Street to downtown, and now adding Tampa Heights. Healthy infrastructure is the foundation of a strong city, which is why the City of Tampa launched the PIPES program. With PIPES, we are investing in the future by taking a proactive approach to renew infrastructure, prevent breakdowns, and provide long-term permanent fixes to water and wastewater systems. For FY24, the city has completed 29 PIPES projects worth over $120 million. And we have a total of 119 PIPES projects worth over $1 billion in the works. In 2025, we will make $64 million worth of capital improvements to the city's aging water distribution system and $87 million to address the needs of water production programs. For wastewater department, the FY25 budget plan includes $61 million to remove nitrogen from the water that we expel out into the bay. In the past year, higher interest rates have caused home values to stabilize, and the supply of new apartments coming online is starting to reduce rents. That said, affordable housing is still one of the top challenges facing our residents and the city of Tampa. In 2025, we will continue to use grant funding, tax credits, and our infill program for the creation of additional affordable housing units. We will also continue to collaborate with Tampa Hope and other partners to expand temporary housing options to meet emergency housing needs and to prevent displacement. We will prioritize protected, vulnerable populations, including families, veterans, seniors, and those with disabilities. And we will also focus on stabilizing renters and homeowners in low-income and majority-minority neighborhoods vulnerable to displacement and gentrification. We've expanded the availability of services that help accelerate home ownership and build wealth through the expansion of our down payment assistance and owner-occupied rehabilitation programs. The city will continue to provide rental assistance along with credit and budget counseling to help renters and existing homeowners achieve housing security and expand their housing options. As you all agree, every Tampa resident has the right to feel safe in their home, business, and schools regardless of where they live. This is something that I've been committed to throughout my career. Public safety is a prerequisite to economic development, community empowerment, and our quality of life. A successful city is built on a foundation of safety and security. We continue to be one of the safest cities our size in the nation, thanks to the hard work of the men and women of the Tampa Police Department in collaboration with our residents and businesses. In the first half of this year, violent crime has fallen by nearly 3%, which is on top of last year's reduction of 8.3%. Total crime is down more than 11% over the past 18 months, and violent crime with a firearm is down nearly 30%. Tampa Fire Rescue also has a lot to be proud of. The men and women of Tampa Fire Rescue have a difficult and dangerous job. Residents of our city count on them to be there during their most difficult circumstances. Last year, they responded to nearly 11,000 fire calls and more than 81,000 medical calls. This year's proposed budget for Tampa Fire Rescue includes all of the CIP funding that was agreed to last year, including moving forward on Station 24 and continuing the renovation projects at other stations. Sustainability and resiliency plays an important role in everything from planning to budgeting to implementation. Both have become an important part of our city's culture. Promoting connected, healthy, and vibrant neighborhoods through sustainability and resilience, integrating sustainability and resiliency into everything that we do, and increasing the level of coordination and collaboration will impact our future for generations to come. In 2025, we will be focused on the following. We will continue implementing key parts of Tampa's Climate Action and Equity Plan, including projects that increase renewable energy, grow our urban tree canopy, and address emerging trends like heat vulnerability. We will lead by example and install hundreds of new solar panels, implement new energy savings programs, transition city fleets to electric vehicles, and ensure our workforce and city practices are meeting high levels of sustainability and resilience best practices. And excuse me, I would also like to take this opportunity to discuss an issue that is not a part of the budget presentation per se, but it is a project that speaks to our sense of community, and that is the Sulphur Springs Pool. We are all aware of the significance this pool holds for many neighborhoods, from the children that walk up for an enjoyable summer experience to swim teams that practice there, and for those who cherish their water aerobics, or at least the instructor. Sulphur Springs is also my pool. That's where I swam laps after I retired from the Tampa Police Department. I want council to know that we are entering this budget year with a save our pool mentality. We currently have approximately $2 million in capital improvement dollars set aside to address the issues associated with the pool. And I know that this important issue for the council and the community, and I look forward to working together to attaining the best possible outcome. So before I turn the presentation over to our amazing CFO, Dennis Rahiro, I'd like to emphasize a couple of things. This budget really is our return to normal budget, and we are in good shape. However, with current levels of revenue, I want to be clear, it will not address many of our gaps and growth challenges. That's why it is so critical that we, as a community, as a county, pass the renewal of the community investment tax this November, and that we continue to explore every possible funding stream available. Thank you, Council, for working with the administration to address the important issues that we face every day, and I hope that you find this budget satisfying, again, to serve our community and to be fiscally responsible. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Mr. O'Hara?
Thank you, Mayor.
No, no questions.
Thank you, Council. Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Chair. Dennis Rahero, Chief Financial Officer. Pardon me. Thank you for having me here today to finish presenting the fiscal year 25, pardon me, recommended operating and capital budget. You will recall, Council will recall, at your request, we are bringing this presentation and the mayor's recommended budget to you about 3 weeks earlier than is typical. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that feedback again, so we can all have a little more time to digest, get down into the details, and trade some comments, questions, et cetera, back and forth in anticipation of our 2 workshops coming up in August. Our table of context, you see that on the screen there, fairly typical. We'll jump right into the operating and capital budget, then into our 5-year capital improvement program, or CIP, and finally our debt program. We're going to provide a relatively comprehensive debt program presentation today, complementing the comprehensive debt program presentation we gave you at the beginning of the year, around January or February, especially on the non-ad valorem plans for debt issuance, because those come from the general fund. So let's dive right in. And here it is, the net fiscal year 2025 budget for all funds is just over $1.8 billion, an increase of just over 3% compared to the current year. And those increases are primarily in the following categories. And of course, we'll have weeks and weeks to get into further detail. Higher salaries, higher healthcare costs, higher pension costs, inflationary costs. You know, the mayor mentioned the phenomenal, there's no other word for it, increase in costs associated with inflation following the pandemic, well, during and following the pandemic. Vehicle maintenance, we've had some discussions offline in our briefings about vehicle maintenance and the need to continue replacing vehicles. The additional community redevelopment area contributions every single year, if our revenues, our our ad valorem valuations go up, we can expect to contribute more funding to the CRAs. Some additional staffing, and we'll provide some detail on that in a moment. And of course, continuing the water and wastewater projects, primarily pipes. As we always do, we break out the major funds for you here, including, pardon me, the 2 largest components, and they are always the largest components. I don't see that changing at about 3/4 of the entire budget. That's the enterprise and general funds, and we'll get into more detail in those right now. And here are the expenditure categories for those funds. The general fund on the left, you see over 60% of the budget going to public safety. Again, a very large component of our general funding. Primarily Tampa Fire Rescue, Tampa Police Department, but it does include code enforcement, but the overwhelming majority are police and fire. Central government, those are the support agencies that keep the city running behind the scenes, including my shop, Revenue and Finance, Technology and Innovation, Human Resources, Purchasing, and Neighborhood and Community Affairs. Well, I take that back. They're not so behind the scenes. They're pretty out there. Our Parks and Recreation Department and Economic Development, which includes the Tampa Convention Center. On the right, you see the enterprise funds. Those are those departments providing services to the community and charging separately and solely for those services. Again, what they charge in the enterprise funds can only be spent on what they do in the enterprise fund. They're run like a business. On the left, and as is typical, you see property tax revenues by themselves are insufficient to pay even for the cost of police and fire services. You see police and fire services in fiscal year 25, pardon me, nearly $390 million. And over at the top right, you see our total property taxes are only anticipated to be, I say only, it's a big ticket, but not quite up to funding public safety, $354.2 million. But as council knows, but to reiterate, that's not the whole story. You see, after the nearly $54 million Community Redevelopment Agency component, what we have left, we anticipate having left, is a little over $300 million. So obviously, but it is worth reiterating, I think, every year, because I continue and probably will always continue in the community to talk to people who associate our general fund solely with property taxes. And of course, that's not the case. It's our biggest revenue. It's not our only general fund revenue. And you see, in and of itself, it will not pay for public safety. Our proportional component of the CRA contribution is going up this year. It is now about 1/5 of our property taxes for fiscal year 2025. Continuing with the general fund, here is our general fund balance history and our projections for the current year and next year. First and foremost, let me thank you all again, and I'm very pleased to continue thanking you for your very, very strong support of maintaining our fund balance. And as I will always reiterate, it's a very important component as we discuss our credit ratings. As always, to maintain that preferred ratio of 23 or 24%, as the budget goes up, the amount necessary goes up, and you see that reflected in the graph. As we plan and expect this, it still remains above our bottom line policy number of 20%, about $19 million more than our 20%. And 20% is healthy, don't get me wrong, but we enjoy and are very privileged to have a percentage above that. This consistency, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, paints a very nice, stable picture of our finances, especially our finances for those black swan events, for those unforeseen circumstances. Another reason we are viewed so strongly. The mayor mentioned the increase in revenues and the increase in expenditures, and we're providing a bit more detail here for those. The fiscal year 25 major revenue increases you see here at the top. Property taxes, a little over $20 million, which, I'll be the first to tell you is nothing to sneeze at, but it is noteworthy that this represents a 6% increase in our property valuation. Last year, it was double that. It was 12%. So an obvious slowing down in the housing market. Some would say stabilization, which isn't a bad thing, but in this particular case, it represents half of the increase we enjoyed last year. And you'll see that as a consistent theme, as the mayor led off with. It's a bit of a tight budget. You see at the bottom, we originally estimated at nearly $27 million, and we thought that was a conservative estimate at 8%. But it is what it is. Other taxes coming in at nearly $19 million, and this is nearly all associated with electricity revenues, our electric franchise fees, and our electric utility taxes, with just a bit of an increase in our communication services tax and our water utilities tax. So we'll take it. Charges for service increase is minor, but again, we'll take it, $3.5 million. This is from the convention center, parks and recreation, things like that. And finally, our miscellaneous revenues, again, much more detail provided in the budget and throughout the budget, but these include interest revenues, hurricane reimbursements associated with Ian and Idalia, for a total revenue increase of $57.4 million, which is healthy, but as you'll see on our, I think our next slide, yes, on our next slide, let's get to that right now, pretty much matching our expenditure increases for the next fiscal year. And at the top, pay and benefits increased nearly $37 million. As we've heard council say, as you just heard the mayor say, keeping up, expanding services, and maintaining a competitive employee body takes funding, and you see that here. 5 new positions at just under $1 million, so a very slight increase in positions at FTEs, that's full-time equivalents. The CRA contributions increased $3 million, we've mentioned that. PAYGO capital project funding, that is for the Tampa Fire Rescue Computer-Aided Dispatch, or CAD project. Simply maintaining services with the increased costs was almost $11 million in the general fund. No expansion of services, just to maintain, as you heard the mayor, the status quo. That's a chunk of change. A slight increased level of service, nearly $2 million, and some new services at nearly $1.5 million. But again, the takeaway is very little to expand what we're doing. And again, the mayor mentioned status quo. Speaking of those salaries, here are the anticipated salary adjustments for fiscal year 25. You see 4.5% for the collective bargaining employees. And for the non-bargaining employees, 3% across the board, with the mayor still deciding on directors' and administrators' pay increases. Our summary of position increases. I'll start at the top there. We always like to provide this historical emphasis because we do think, prior to the great financial crisis, we had almost 5,050 employees. We still have less than 5,000 employees. We view that as continuing efforts and worth celebrating.
Please silence your cell phones. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, we view that as continuing efficiency and effectiveness improvements over the years, still trying to stay below that level when there was ample money right before the recession and the great financial crisis. You see the millage rate comparison here. Again, part of what we would submit is a fiscally conservative management style. We compare favorably, you see, to Orlando, St. Petersburg, and Miami in terms of our millage rates. Continuing to compare favorably when we get to the personnel population ratio comparison. How many employees do we have versus the population? We are second only to Orlando, you see in the light green. All the while, of course, and including these cities, I don't want to single us out, expansion continues to happen. Growth continues to happen. Demand for services continue to happen. So we think we're doing very, very well in comparison. Moving on to our grants program, you heard the mayor mention other sources of funding, and another banner year, you see it right there, nearly $76 million. And of course, you see the progress since we revamped our grant program in the year 2020. Very aggressive and ambitious applications, very aggressive coordination, both internally and externally, with other partners, with Tallahassee, with Washington, D.C., and you see it paying off. By the time this fiscal year ends, we anticipate we will have applied for over $250 million in outside funding. That's very, very aggressive. And it's very optimistic because we got a couple months, we're not going to get it all right. We never are going to get it all, but that doesn't keep us from pushing applications and requests for other funding. Moving now into our capital improvement program, and may I beg a little bit of indulgence from council on this note. We have a deliverable due to you. It is not ready yet. Councilwoman Hurtak, you will recall, we are going to provide you a summation of capital improvement projects and amounts that have fallen off since the current year, capital improvement projects that are staying the same, and new capital improvement projects going forward. Mike Perry and his shop, the budget office, have crafted a very, very nice draft. It's not quite ready yet. We're going to need about a week or so for that. So we worked very hard to try to have it to you today, but it will be coming very, very soon. But that doesn't mean I don't have anything to say about the capital improvement program. And you see it here, over the 5-year period, just under $1.7 billion of recommended projects. It remains very consistent, I think, with one notable exception, which I'll point out in a minute, consistent with our current capital improvement program. And those are wastewater and water. Aggressive, heavy emphasis on continuing that pipes program. One of the exceptions, though, is you see fire rescue holding its own at over 120, almost $126 million over that 5-year period. You heard the mayor mention the significant investment that we anticipate over the next few years in Tampa fire rescue, and that's reflected there. Highlighting some of our major projects, the comprehensive infrastructure for Tampa's neighborhoods. That is an ongoing project. It continues. We want to continue to reference that. Our pipes program, as I just mentioned, it's many different components to it. It's as you know, it's a 20-year, nearly $3 billion plan, and that's driving. You heard the mayor mention some of the successes, and it continues to be successful. We continue to take in significant amounts of money and spend significant amounts of money getting things done. So it's a success logistically from a performance perspective, and this is important to us. It's a success from a financial perspective. We're not borrowing money and sitting on it and paying interest on money we're not putting to work. Into Parks and Recreation and Police. Athletic field lighting, the K-Bar Ranch Park, and the Guida House renovations. And into the police, the Howard Avenue Annex building. We've talked a little bit about that with forensics and impounds. Our mobility projects over the 5-year period, nearly $70 million, and you see it for resurfacing, et cetera. The mayor mentioned Vision Zero, and we'll get into a little more detail on this also. Technology and innovation, there's the computer-aided dispatch item I mentioned earlier, and of course the relocation of the solid waste department from Spruce Avenue to 34th Street at the McKay-Bay complex. These are the projects by district. Again, on the website, we have any number of different links for GPS locations, further detail, of course, as you all know, and access to our OpenGov system for what we feel is very, very detailed for those that want that information associated with these capital improvement projects. There again is the comprehensive infrastructure. I had a problem with that title for Tampa's neighborhoods in District 4, the South Howard flood relief and streetscape. And I do want to mention, you'll see it later today on your agenda, the West River Walk. Got a little ahead of myself. District 5, again, there's the West River Walk, the East Tampa Recreational Complex, and again, that comprehensive, I'm just going to call that neighborhood infrastructure from now on, because I don't seem to be able to get that. And into District 6, again, the neighborhood infrastructure project. Again, the build grant, the West River Walk item that you'll have later on today. The annex building for the police department, fire station number 9. The mayor mentioned the Sulphur Springs pool. I believe she mentioned the amount, but if she didn't, I'll reiterate it. Nearly $2 million for Sulphur Springs pool improvements. And in District 7, again, the neighborhood infrastructure project. Fire station number 4, the K-Bar Ranch. And finally, following our capital improvement program, because it is so intertwined with financing and bond issuances, we're going to roll right into our debt program. The mayor already mentioned this, but I think it's worth mentioning twice, and congratulations to the mayor, to city council, and to the departments for, again, outstanding credit ratings, really across the board. Goes hand in hand with big projects, and as the mayor mentioned, it allows us to do more because our interest rates or our interest payments, are cheaper. We've had 2 credit upgrades since 2019. You see those in green. And, I've said it before, I'll say it again, council, the mayor, and the community should expect nothing less. At the top, you see the issuer credit rating. That, for all intents and purposes, is our FICO score. S&P, over to the far right, you see, has given us the highest it can give. It's an outstanding FICO score for the city. Moody's and Fitch have given us the second highest. We will continue to try for the highest, but we'll take second highest for now. I'd like to talk a little bit about debt capacity. The subject has come up quite often, and we've tried to speak to it. We want to speak to it a little bit more. So we're going to get a little detailed here, atypically detailed from what we presented in the past. So as we talk about capacity, you see here there are a number of elements. And before I go on, let me state and credit and thank the outside team members that we work with. I've got a fantastic revenue and finance team, but we have a fantastic financial advisor. We have one of the best financial advisors, I think, in the Southeast United States. Fantastic bond counsel, disclosure counsel, financial feasibility consultant. So we have a very large, experienced, and intelligent team when we're coming up with what is the city's debt capacity. And you see here revenues, historic audited revenues. I'm going to reemphasize that in the presentation because as we decide what the capacity is, the budget office, for instance, is normally all about looking into the future, right? What's going to happen? Educated guessing, all kinds of research. But when something as important as deciding what the city's debt capacity is, we need to look at what has actually happened. And that's what we look at, audited financial statements and revenues. Second, required debt service coverages. We're going to get into that a little more in a minute, but capacity bleeds into, hey, do you have the funding? Are you anticipated to have the funding to cover your debt service? And not only cover your debt service, but more than cover your debt service. And taking into account outstanding debt. We talk a lot, of course, around here about issuing new debt, but we are always, almost always, paying off existing debt that we have. So it's a dynamic environment, and it'll always be a dynamic environment, I think, for a city of this size and a city with these aspirations. The anti-dilution test. I don't want to get too wonkish, but sometimes it's unavoidable. This is done, as you see here, to protect existing bondholders. People, companies, whether it's retail, mom and pop shops, or organizations have made an investment in the city. We have borrowed money from them through bonds. They want assurance, justifiably, that we're not going to make poor decisions in the future that will jeopardize their investment in the city. And that is what an anti-dilution test does. It has to meet a two-pronged test. Again, we have to meet that minimum required coverage, which I'll get to in a minute, and we have to establish what is a maximum annual debt service. And what that means is how much are we paying every year? How much are we anticipated to pay every year? Because it's one thing to say, hey, we're going to issue $100 million over 30 years. We have to verify that we'll be able to make those debt payments each and every single year. And you see here, calculated by the financial advisor. We pay subject matter experts to do this using, again, audited financial data. It's not what we think is going to happen. It's based on what has happened in the recent past. Existing financial market data. You want to talk about dynamic. I think everybody knows by now the financial markets are nothing if not dynamic, especially in the last few years. So there are a great many moving parts. And it is a legal test. It is a legal test to ensure that we are complying with our bond covenants. And here is our anti-dilution test, the first test. You see on the top, are legally available non-ad valorem revenues. Those are our general fund revenues. I'll reiterate, especially for the public, non-ad valorem means non-property taxes. The fiscal year 22 amount, the fiscal year 23 amount, and our average. Our anticipated maximum annual debt service, including our projected debt, what we think we're going to pay every year for non-ad valorem, is a little over $60 million. The next line down, you see minimum debt service coverage is 1.5 times. We have to have at least 1.5 times, pardon me, these legally available revenues in order to meet that first test. The last line, you see we exceed it significantly. We have nearly 6 times the coverage as opposed to 1.5 times the coverage. So that's the first test, which you see we pass easily. In the second test, you see the governmental revenues. The governmental revenues for fiscal year 22 and 23, and the average of just over $793 million. We're going to take out sales tax. We're going to take out stormwater. And here are the available governmental revenues. You see $735.5 million. Why sales tax? Why stormwater? Those are separate revenue streams. Our current maximum annual debt service, you remember that from the previous slide, we anticipate almost $60.5 million. The maximum we're allowed is 20%. We're 8%. That $60.4 million is 8%. So moving further down, based on our available governmental revenues, if we could, or if we wanted to, because we can go to 20%. Now, we're not recommending that, and I don't anticipate we will recommend that. That will bring you at the very bottom an annual debt service payment of $148 million. We anticipate much less than half that. So we have passed our second anti-dilution test. To recap, capacity is based on any number of things: financial market conditions, our required debt service coverage, our credit ratings. Again, credit ratings drive a great deal of what we're able to borrow. And again, the repayment of existing debt and issuance of additional debt. $148 million gives us a legal debt issuance capacity of non-ad valorem funding of about $1.5 billion. We don't anticipate ever recommending near that, but we could. Final note at the bottom, if someone anticipated issuing that much debt, it would affect the city's credit rating, right? There is a tipping point. And here is our non-ad valorem debt program through fiscal year 29. A very detailed, itemized list of what we intend to do, when we intend to do it from a financing perspective. And you see the fire stations at the top. We have that yellow box around those projects to indicate potentially what kind of bonding relief passing of the community investment tax could provide. Yes, the CIT, exactly, thank you, also affectionately known as the CIT. As you know, I'm sure, the County Commission approved going forward yesterday. We won't know till November, and if it is successful, we won't receive the funding until this out year, 2026. But we do want to keep in mind, it has been asked by council members in briefings, and of course, we've surfaced it ourselves. Speaking of a dynamic environment, how can we leverage that funding or use that funding to relieve some of our debt or some of our bonding requirements? The Convention Center, Hannah Avenue Mobility, this is for the transportation around Hannah Avenue. We still have the final debt component for the Hannah Avenue City Center. TPD headquarters, we do need to do some work there. The Fire Training Simulator and Skills Tower, and of course the East Tampa Recreation Center at Fair Oaks. That is just the first page. Here's the second page of anticipated non-ad valorem debt. The Annex Building for TPD, 40th Street, Public Safety Training Facility, Housing Program Property Acquisition, Sulphur Springs Pool that I mentioned, we have another $300,000 non-financing to get to that nearly $2 million. Agrita House renovations and the K-Bar Ranch Park. We have outlined those in green to, again, surface and keep in mind they're pretty big ticket projects. Now, of course, when and if the CIT is approved, there are any number of ways we can go, but we do want to highlight some projects that could be relieved from a financing perspective by the CIT. The West River Walk, which, again, council will see a little later on in this meeting. And we have highlighted in that black square all of the grant matches. Although we are very successful, in order to get money, sometimes you got to spend money, and we are going to finance, or we intend to finance, some of those grant matches. And wrapping it up from a capacity perspective, you see in green what we could borrow from a legal bonding capacity perspective and what we anticipate borrowing in blue. This is actually a very conservative graph because you see we leave the bonding capacity consistent at 1.5 billion. I believe just 6 months ago we shared with you a bonding capacity of 1.3 billion. In half a year, things change. Our bonding capacity has gotten better. Absent a black swan event, I anticipate that our bonding capacity will continue to get better. But this will work for now, I think. 1.5 billion, again, well below that. I do want to point out some credit rating vulnerabilities because we do live in the real world. These are quotes from all three of the credit rating agencies. We've asked them, and we didn't have to ask them, they're happy to tell us, hey, what would happen or what could happen that would lead you to downgrade our credit ratings? And you see that here, a significant increase in debt. What we plan, we do not think, based on feedback from them and our financial advisors, will be defined as a significant increase in debt. A material decline in fund balance. Again, thank you, council, and thank the mayor for sticking to that fund balance level. S&P, you see consecutive years of structural imbalance. We haven't had that. We don't intend to have that, leading to material deterioration in budget performance and available reserves. And Fitch says, hey, a sustained weakening of pledged reserves or unexpected leveraging. We are leveraging, but it's within the bounds, and it's not unexpected. We absolutely expect it. Again, a little bit wonkish, but want to reiterate to council and the public that we do not think anything that we plan is going to adversely impact our credit rating. Council has seen a version of this chart before. We have updated for fiscal year 24. I would suggest concentrating perhaps on the purple line. The purple line represents nearly quarter-century history of what our debt has been compared to our budget. And you see continuing decline until around 2015, where it's pretty much leveled out. At the same time, of course, our budget has expanded dramatically from less than $500 million in 2000 to nearly $2 billion 25 years later. Our principal outstanding debt service, which is what we've got right now. I've said it before, it continues to be a very nice debt picture, a gradual declining. This is what we've got right now, no surprises, no balloon payments or anything like that. And moving to our debt service by bond year, we do have a balloon payment, but I'm going to explain that. You see, in 2029, I was remiss in not at least emphasizing that the green are our enterprise funds and the blue is our governmental. Again, a nice, smooth, declining debt picture with the exception of that 2029. And what is that? Well, you see the note there. That's the balloon payment for the bank note we just approved for solid waste and the waste-to-energy plant. But as you know, we're going to get rid of that balloon payment because we're going to roll it up into a 30-year bond when we finalize the debt issuance for the relocation of solid waste. What will that do? That'll make it nice and smooth again. But we do, again, full transparency, we do want to point out that you got a big blip in 2029, but we have a plan for that. And our non-ad valorem, pro forma debt service for fiscal year 25. We anticipate bringing this to council in the first or second quarter, you see there. About $150 million interest, going to be about that. Interest rates historically, again, we've talked about this before. If you look back decades and decades, not too bad. Recently, pretty high. And you see that here, annual bond payments of over $10 million. We think this is a conservative estimate of 4.4%. I won't bother going down a rabbit hole of potential Federal Reserve decisions in the very near future on rates, but we think this is a conservative estimate. Moving into our water and wastewater, again, we've been concentrating mostly on our general fund, non-ad valorem. This is our water and wastewater. We anticipate coming to council in the next month or so for over $300 million in proceeds. Again, part of the PIPES program. Interest costs, for reasons I won't get into right now, are anticipated to be high compared to the proceeds, although again, we think it's conservative. The reimbursement resolution has already been adopted. I should state on the water and wastewater debt and the next slide, solid waste, we're going to come in again with a very detailed and significant presentation, again, regarding capacity, regarding what we anticipate doing and how that will affect us. And for solid waste, of course, about $130 million we anticipate for relocation of the headquarters from Spruce Street. Again, we're going to do a short-term issuance, and then we're going to wrap this one up with the other one for a 30-year bond. Thank you, council. Speaking of indulgences, thank you for indulging me. I know it was detailed, but a lot of discussion has occurred regarding bonding and financing. I anticipate a great deal of discussion will continue, and we're happy to engage in that. But to the best of our ability, we want to make sure everybody's eyes are wide open and all the information is available. The next steps are CIP workshop, August 5th. And again, we'll have that product to you. Operating workshop, August 19th. We would ask City Council to request the following motions. The first public hearing on September 3rd and the second public hearing on September 17th. Mr. Miranda, or Councilman Miranda, we're going to get that detailed information to you, but here's a sneak peek of what's coming up. Again, we have to work around the school board and the county commission's public hearing dates. We are third in line, and that's where we have landed. The budget can be found at this at this link, and from there you can go into OpenGov, as you know, but for the public's benefit, any number of different tools are available to everybody who can access that link. We have hard copy budgets coming. Oh, we've got them coming right now. You're very welcome. Appreciate the feedback. We want you to have the information that you think is necessary for your comfort in making these decisions.
All right, Mr. O'Hara, that concludes your presentation.
Yes, with one exception, I would be remiss if I didn't thank a number of people. Thank you, council. I would certainly be remiss if I did not thank your budget analyst. Thank you, Ms. Kopesky. I certainly appreciate your input, our discussions, and your efforts, and the Citizens Budget Advisory Committee. They've already made their presentation to you. They have met extensively and frequently, so appreciate their efforts also. As always, we think this is a carefully crafted and balanced budget. There are any number of interrelated items in here, so making changes in one area is likely to affect a change in another area, as council knows. So thank you again for your time. Again, letting me get into a little more detail than is typical. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're going to take a 10-minute recess, and we're going to come back. We have a lot of people coming in for Police Officer of the Month, and then go to public comment. We are in 10-minute recess.
Thank you.
I'd like to call this Tampa City Council meeting back to order. If we could have roll call, please.
Carlson. Hurtak. Clendenin. Henderson.
Present.
Vieira. Miranda.
Here.
And Maniscalco.
Here.
We have a physical quorum.
Thank you very much. We're going to go to Police Officer of the Month, Chief Burkhoff. You want to kick it off? Councilmember Vieira.
Thank you so much, sir. Our great pleasure here today to do our Tampa Police Officer of the Month for Detective Amanda Baranowski. Like I always say, we do this to reflect the values of the community we serve, a city of Tampa that supports our first responders and that always includes our police officers and our cops. So here to talk about this wonderful honoree and this wonderful woman who I just spoke with, we have Tampa Chief of Police, Dr. Burkhoff. Come on, sir.
Thank you, Councilman. Good morning, Council.
Good morning, sir.
So I'm honored to present Detective Amanda Baranowski, our Officer of the Month for July 2024. And when you hear this story, you're going to be glad that she's working for the Tampa Police Department, especially if you have kids or grandkids. The Tampa Police Department is proud to announce Detective Amanda Baranowski as the Officer of the Month. Her dedication and exceptional investigative skills were instrumental in bringing a dangerous predator to justice. In October of last year, she was assigned a complex case involving the cyberbullying of a juvenile. A sexually explicit video featuring 2 minors had been circulated on social media. Detective Baranowski identified the male juvenile in the video, who informed her that his ex-girlfriend, a homeschooled student that he met online, had accessed and shared a video without his consent. Detective Baranowski investigated and revealed no record of this female juvenile. She used various resources, including databases, employment records, and witness interviews in her comprehensive and meticulous investigation. She was able to unravel a web of deceit. Her relentless pursuit of the truth revealed a shocking reality that the ex-girlfriend was not a juvenile, but a 22-year-old adult who had meticulously crafted an online persona as a teenager. Armed with this new information, Detective Baranowski identified 25 additional potential victims, each a juvenile who believed that they were interacting with another online teen. Working tirelessly, she was able to properly identify each victim and secure permission from their parents to speak with them. This comprehensive investigation resulted in 11 felony charges against the suspect, who is currently in jail. Detective Baranowski's commitment to protecting children serves as a powerful reminder of the dangers lurking online. This case highlights the importance of open communication between parents and guardians and their children regarding internet safety, online activity, and being aware of potential risks associated with social media platforms. Thanks to Detective Baranowski's exceptional work, a predator has been stopped and children in our community are safer. Her dedication is a shining example of the Tampa Police Department's unwavering commitment to safeguarding the well-being of all residents. So for that, she is awarded our Officer of the Month. Congratulations.
Before we formally honor this amazing individual, we have some members of the community who want to personally thank you and honor you. We have some people who couldn't be here, so we'll be doing that afterwards, but I guess we'll start with Mr. McElhaney, PBA.
I'm not sure who's left. I apologize to you. My computer was acting up yesterday, so I don't have the printed documents that you might need, but I do have gift certificates here for Bella Bravo, which is in the Midtown section of Tampa, and Yummy House China Bistro. We'd like to honor you and thank you for your dedication.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Brandon Barclay, Tampa PBA. We're presenting this plaque to Detective Baranowski. It's always been great. I've worked with Amanda on the street when she was an officer, and she's always been phenomenal. Congratulations.
And unfortunately, some of the folks who usually come to honor our Police Officer of the Month could not be here today because of the budget presentation. But if I may, this would appear to be from the Tampa Theater, a gift for you, from our good friends at the Tampa Theater. This is from Zoo Tampa, Here you go.
Thank you very
Some nice, very nice gifts. We have gifts here from 1905 Family Restaurants, our good friends at the Columbia and the Gonsmart family. This is from our good friends at Steps Towing, which are always very pro first responder and wonderful people, a wonderful gift from them. I believe that's a free ride in a limo. And then from our good friends at the Straz Center, some nice tickets. There you go. And then we have here from the Tampa Bucks, here at One Buck Police, we have a tradition to give our police officer of the month game ball, and this is you, as they always say. So there you go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. So, if we may, here it is, ma'am, on behalf of a very grateful city of Tampa and Tampa City Council, we really thank you for your protection of our children and for your support of public safety and for every day wearing that uniform, going out there and taking hits for all of us. We appreciate you.
Thank you,
Here
sir.
you
I
are.
appreciate it.
Thank you. You like the things? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So I got to pull it up. Not quite used to public speaking, so my apologies. But there are some things I would like to say and some people I would like to recognize. But first, I would like to thank the City of Tampa Council for the honor of being recognized today. Thank you very much. I would like to thank our city leaders, Tampa Police Chief Burkall, our assistant and deputy chiefs, and our department leadership and staff. Thank you. I would like to thank my sergeant, my squad, and the Special Victims Unit, who are devoted to their profession and the cases we work. They're all deserving of this recognition. I would like to thank the State Attorney's Office and the 13th Judicial Circuit, especially the Special Victims Unit, for their guidance and tenacity with seeing these cases through to the end. I would like to thank the Tampa PBA, our community partners, the citizens of our community, and the encouragement and support needed to operate and uphold our agency's mission. I would like to thank the victims and survivors of these cases that we work, because it takes immeasurable courage to come forward and tell their stories to everybody, and so we can bring them justice. And lastly, I would like to thank my wife and my family, blood and chosen family, for standing by me and uplifting me over the past 13 years. My wife's commitment and sacrifice to what I do. She has such humility. She promotes advocacy, and she has an obsession with true crime that has allowed me to do what I do for this long. So, but thank you so much being a part of the Special Victims Unit and allowing me to have the opportunity to work these cases. It's been amazing. So, thank you.
And now, council members, if you'd like to speak, you may.
Sir?
I just want to thank you very much for what you've done and what you continue to do on a daily basis, along with the other 1,000 or so police officers. It's not easy to think how somebody else thinks, so you got to catch them. And you got to outthink them on what they're doing, what you've done, when just all the way story about how you found them, how you looked for them, how you searched for them, and ultimately what you did in making the arrest. And I was first notified of this when I was watching one of the TV stations, and I saw that, and that person did look like a little teenager, well, with the camera shot that I saw. But I want to thank you personally on behalf of every citizen in the city of Tampa for your loyalty, your commitment to, I will catch that person no matter what. And congratulations to you and the whole police department.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you, and thank your wife for supporting you. I can't imagine the emotions that you go through in looking at this and seeing how this affects kids' lives and families' lives. As the parent of 3 kids, I'm terrified about this every day. We all have to have long conversations with our kids to warn them, but it's just a constant barrage of attacks of people, fishing to communicate with them in some way. And appreciate you on this end catching them. And I wish we could clone you 100 times so we could catch more of them. And because we really, really need this. This is the health and mental health of our kids is incredibly important. So thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you.
Councilmember Cadet.
Yeah, I want to thank your wife. One, and the family, I think one of the things that we always forget with every police officer that stands before us and protects us around the city is there's husbands, there's wives, there's kids at home that, send you guys out the door every day, and you never know what you're going to face, and they're actually the unsung heroes. So thank you so much for supporting your wife and being here today for her. Thank you so much.
And congratulations to you. We're certainly very, very proud of you. And thank you for putting on that uniform every day and making that sacrifice, and to your family. You go out every day, and you may or may not come home, but you still go out there, you protect our community clearly as you're being honored today for what you've done in keeping our young people safe, our youth safe. We're honored to be here with you. Thank you, and congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, we'll just take a minute as the room clears out, and we'll kick off public comment. Mr. Shelby, I have a few speakers that are that signed up to speak regarding the community benefits agreement. Will they, if they speak during public comment, will they give up their opportunity to speak during that item?
That's a very good point, Mr. Chairman. The people who are here to speak on number 3 would have that opportunity, and this is going to be, is Mr. Marin here?
Yeah, he's right.
So Mr. Marin is, well, we're going to bring that up after public comment, but just so that people know, Mr. Marin is going to assist council. This is a first-time event for you choosing people to serve on these committees. So if you're here and are going to speak as an applicant for the members of the Community Benefit Agreement, you can hold your comments till when that item comes up, which will be taken up after public comment.
All right, thank you very much. So we're going to start with the registered speakers. We have 3. Jessica Franklin is the first registered speaker. Is Jessica on?
Hi, yes, I am on. Can you hear me?
Yes, please state your name. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Jessica Franklin. I deeply apologize because I currently have bronchitis and lost my voice, so I did not want to affect the audience. But I just wanted to say I am honored that I was able to speak to you guys today and that I'm extremely interested in this committee for multiple reasons. And what I think would make a great committee member would be I have experience from being on the advisory council board at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia for over 9 years. I helped build the infrastructure to make things great for children. I was on the Westfall Advisory Board in Philadelphia for Drexel University, along with being on the Dean's Review list to be able to implement a ton of different programs from the Westfall.
Miss Franklin, if I could stop you for just a second. You're speaking about item number 3, which is going to be coming up right after public comment. If you want to hold your comments until then, since it's part of that committee, and if you could adjust the microphone. We had trouble hearing you. It was muffled, but we're going to come back to you and give you the opportunity to speak for item number 3. All right, so please stay on, and we'll be back with you shortly. All right, next speaker is June Fleming. Is June? No? Okay. And then we have Stephanie Harrison Bailey. Is Stephanie Harrison Bailey also for item number 3?
Yes,
Okay.
I am.
Okay, Stephanie, we're going to just hold you until item number 3. We're going to do general public comment, but we're going to come back to you and you will have the opportunity to speak. So that takes us to in-person public comment. We have Paula Flores. Please come on up. Followed by Christina Costa.
Good morning. My name is Paula Flores, and I am board member of Walk Bike Tampa. Our address is P.O. Box 173327, Tampa, Florida. Walk Bike Tampa is a nonprofit citizen-based advocacy group focused on promoting safe, connected routes for people walking, riding, and rolling within our city. The Walk Bike Tampa board is unanimous in our support for the West River District multimodal network and safety improvements. In addition to the multimodal path along the river, the project includes complete street enhancements in the surrounding street segments in order to improve access to the multimodal connections as well as provide additional safe transportation choices. The multimodal path will provide improved access to parks, UT, Tampa Pet Prep, Blake High School, Stewart Middle School, and rec centers in the areas. So investment in a project of this caliber in our community is critical to connectivity between these destinations and points beyond. This project has been planning for years, and in receiving the US DOT built grant of $24 million will propel this project not just from a vision to an actual vital link in our transportation community and network. This project also includes a lot of safety enhancements to address the high number of pedestrian and bicycle crashes in the area. And these improvements are consistent with the city's Vision Zero policy and the action plan, and it is the city's ethical obligation to address these crashes. So in addition to projects like the Riverwalk, not only do they support walking, biking, and being active, but they also cost about 75% less to build per mile compared to a typical car-focused transportation project. But it also can bring a broad range of economic benefits that often go unmeasured. Benefits such as increased retail and food sales, new jobs, new businesses, increased private investment in tourism revenue, increased property and sales tax revenue, and some people don't recognize that it averts costs from crashes and healthcare costs resulting from safer streets, cleaner air, and more opportunities for physical activity. But most importantly, the project will create more affordable, sustainable, and safe transportation choices. This project is a long-term investment in our community, not just a cost project. Walk Bike Tampa supports this project, and we ask that you do too. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Christina Costa, followed by Valerie Bullock.
Good morning, Tampa City Council members and Mr. Chairman. My name is Christine Acosta. I'm a local Tampa resident, 2402 West Morrison Avenue, and I'm also a business owner, active transportation advocate, and a personal bicycle commuter. I'm here to encourage you to advance the West Riverwalk project, item number 115 on today's agenda. 4.5 years ago, I had the opportunity to be on one of the teams that created a proposal to develop the Rome Yard. And while my team did not win, the mobility plan that I wrote for that area scored 99 out of 100 possible points. And that was because its focus was on the movement of people and commerce, especially goods and services that are generated by our small local businesses, critically important and the backbone of our economy. So the mobility plan had at its core, it's very multidimensional as you would imagine, had at its core the West Riverwalk. So this is a critical link in our emerging network of safe and comfortable facilities for people of all ages and all abilities to maintain a healthy and sustainable life and choose mobility options that enable their household budget to either be car-free or car-light. Facilities of this type have been studied by the Urban Land Institute and found to deliver enormous return on investments for your the budget for which you assume responsibility. The economic development and resulting tax generation are fantastic. We need only consider the iconic facilities. There are too many to list, but we have our present Riverwalk, which shines every time its light is cast on it. The Pinellas Trail, the Atlanta Beltline, the New York High Line, Indianapolis Culture Trail, and many others. One that is not as good as what we have the potential to build here, I went to a conference in Miami, the National Association of City Transportation Officials, NACTO, and while in Miami, I had a tour of their current Riverwalk, which is being built incrementally, and it's really patchwork. It starts and stops and starts and stops. It is incongruous and does not serve that community well. The materials are all different, and we just don't want that. We have a shot at doing something much, much better, and I hope you'll support it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up is Valerie Bullock, followed by Christy Lee.
Good morning, Valerie Bullock from Ponce de Leon College here. I want to talk about the resolution number 27, approving a returning citizen training program between Abe Brown and the city of Tampa. When the program do become available, I would like for someone, if it's possible and you all could do it, just put a sentence in there for returning citizens like in the neighborhood. Because right now we sit on our porch and we see the returning citizen going to Abe Brown Ministry, but the people in the neighborhood, they can't get a chance to participate in the program. And I spoke to Mr. Robert Blunt one time about that. He said because of the funding that he get. And everybody need a job, not just the people who at Noah House or who just getting out of prison, but the people who already been to prison and they stay in the neighborhood, been staying in the neighborhood for 20 years. It would seem to me that they would have first choice to the program. So when you all do the program, put some kind of language in there for the people that's in the neighborhood, that's not just getting out of prison, or somebody, a returning citizen, somebody with a challenged background, whether they just getting out or they been out 10 years, they all need the same opportunity. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. Christy Lee. All right. I'll come back to that. We have Eddie Feliciano, but this gentleman is signed up for the public hearings 104 and 105, so you can speak at that time. We have public comment for those. Lori Harris, that is in regards to item number 3. You'll have an opportunity to speak when we go to number 3, which is coming up right after public comment. Mr. Bobby Creighton. Yes, sir. After Bobby Creighton, we have Robin Lockett. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Council. Bobby Creighton, Tampa, Florida. I saw that there was an item on the agenda today that was related to problematic properties in Tampa's neighborhoods. So I wanted to come and speak a little bit about that today. I was raised to be a humble person. I don't really like to talk about myself or the things that I do. I try to let my actions speak for themselves, but sometimes people don't really see the things that I do behind the scenes. I kind of do a lot of research, so wanted to share some of that with you today. I recently completed a pilot study of vacant properties in my neighborhood that included 53 properties. I'll be fighting with the Elmo today a little bit, I'm sure. And you can see all those properties sampled there on the left side of your screen. Now that's just a small proportion of the total number of vacant properties in the neighborhoods, which I pulled from property appraiser data. And you can see there's 151 with that plus my sample. So quite a number of vacant properties just in the Ybor Heights and VM Ybor neighborhoods. I wanted to understand what that was composed of in terms of the records and interactions with the city. So I pulled that data, got that from the from Excella, from the property appraiser website, kind of correlated some of that, and if you put all the records over 10 years, from 2014 to 2024 into a bucket, and you pulled a record out, this is the chances you would get one of those records. 42% complaints, about 40% code or civil cases. So overall, if you reached into that bucket of records and pulled one out, there's about an 80% chance you're going to find something that was detrimental to a neighborhood for those 53 vacant properties. So who owns these? About 50% are owned by LLCs or single owners. So those records, that bucket of records, if you pulled one out, there's about a 50-50 shot that that record belongs to a LLC or a single owner of a parcel. So if you take that 50%, you can imagine of the LLCs and single owners, 80% of those records are detrimental for neighborhoods. So I was curious what code enforcement does about it, how they kind of patrol this, or if they're strategic about their approach. So I got records from code enforcement from 2020 to 2024, running out of time. But you can see the numbers are relatively small for the percentage of proactive cases that they, that record. But the numbers are relatively high. Coming up to the end here, air properties are a major problem in Tampa's black neighborhoods, and they deserve special attention. I overlaid estate properties onto ACS data to show everything in magenta is a 50% or greater black neighborhood, and you can clearly see that the majority of estate properties and air properties are in black neighborhoods in Tampa. We need to be especially careful about how we approach the problem of vacant spaces in our neighborhoods, but it's something I think deserves strategic and special attention. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. No back and forth.
I just wanted to ask if he could leave that information for us so we could have a copy.
Yeah, if we could give it to the attorney so we can have copies. Thank you very much. Next up, we have Robin Lockett. Miss Robin Lockett, followed by Pastor Williams. No? Okay. Pastor Frank Williams, sir, and Montesnot. Good morning, Pastor Williams.
Good morning. My name is Pastor Frank Williams, located 1112 East Scott Street, Paradise Missionary Baptist Church. I've been there for over 30 years. And now the city's trying to take my church away from me. But you got to know, I'm about God's business. And God told me to read something to you. Let me get my Bible. I know y'all ain't gonna give me much time, but I have to read some scripture to you. You know, the mayor was here this morning, and as soon as she gets through reading what she got to say to us, she out of here. But we want y'all to bring her here so we can question her about the establishment of how they're treating the poor blacks. I hope y'all give me enough time, knowing that I'm an old man and halfway blind. But I want to read this scripture off to you. I know you. Psalms 59. Deliver me from my enemy, O my God. Defend me from them that rise up against me. Deliver me from the work of iniquity, and save me from bloody men. For lo, they lie in wait for my soul. The mighty are gathered against me, for my transgression, not for my sin, O Lord. They run and prepare themselves without my fault. Awake to help me. Behold, thou therefore, O Lord, God of hope, the God of Israel. Awake to visit visit all of the heathen. Be not merciful to any wicked transgression. Selah. They return at evening. They make a noise like a dog and go around about the city. Behold, they belch out with their mouth. Swords are in their lips, and they say to do. But thou, O Lord, shalt laugh at them, and thou shalt have all the heathen in derision. Because of his strength will I wait upon thee, for God is my defense. You know, I read the 59th chapter. God gave me that a couple of weeks ago and told me to read it to y'all. I have to do what God tells me to do. I know man don't care nothing about me. And I got to tell y'all something. I wish y'all wouldn't ring that bell on me so quick. But the police killed my brother in New York. But I'm not going to get angry at no police for down here in Tampa. But I want with all of y'all, give me justice. That's all I ask for. Give me justice. And treat me like a citizen of the United States of America. Y'all got a raise the other day, and you got about 30% raise. And that was a blessing from God.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank God for the blessing. And give him the praise. Y'all don't give me a chance to say nothing here. But I thank God y'all heard me.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Montesnot. Good morning, sir.
Uhuru. Uhuru means freedom in Swahili. We say we as African people should always be thinking about our freedom because for the last 624 years, we have experienced nothing close to freedom.
Please state your name, sir.
Montesnot.
Yes, sir.
Now, one of the things I like to say is capitalism is the biggest trick on earth. It's bigger than religion, it's bigger than Christianity, it's bigger than Judaism, it's bigger than Islam, it's bigger than all of that. Capitalism is one of the biggest tricks on earth. a big tree. And here in the heart of city government, we never talk about capitalism. We never talk about capitalism. We never talk about socialism. We never talk about communism. We never talk about the things that, never talk about black power. We're here today, we talked about a $2 billion budget, but nobody talks about, since Perry Harvey's been in that seat, nobody talks about any percentage of that budget coming to African people. Nobody ever talks about that. And that's part of capitalism in the form of 85 people possess more wealth than 4.5 billion people on the planet Earth. This city council and white people have to get serious about the way they deal with issues. African people have to get serious about the way we deal with issues. And the reason that African people can't get serious about the way we deal with issues is because we've been underdeveloped and dispossessed. De-educated, miseducated, the average African person you talk to have absolutely, positively no sense. Couldn't carry on a decent conversation with you. Why is that? The average African person you talk to is ignorant. Ignorant, totally ignorant. We have hundreds of Africans right now in France playing sports, and all of Africa is suffering. Something wrong with that. You have Africans singing and dancing, and all of Africa is suffering. Africans internationally are suffering. There's something wrong with that picture. There's something absolutely, positively wrong with that picture. And there's something wrong with this picture if this city council can come with a $2 billion budget. And if our representative for District 5 can't say where 26 or 21% of that budget should go to African people, it's something that's intrinsically wrong in that. Oh, yeah. It's something wrong with it. When you go throughout the black community, what used to be black communities, Carver City and other places, Lincoln Gardens, Grant Park, all throughout East Tampa, it looks horrible. And they're intentionally letting it go down. All that have to change.
Thank you very much, sir. All right, that concludes public comment. That does not include the individuals here for item number 3. They're going to be called upon. So we are going to go to item number 3, and then we're going to take item number 5. Hello, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Council. Javier Marin, Economic Opportunity Division. It's my pleasure to bring forth the names of civic-minded individuals who have requested to be considered for the Community Benefits Advisory Council. Our purpose today is for Council to appoint one standing member that will serve for 2 years, and also to appoint 2 ad hoc members that will serve on the Gas Works project. And their service will be, we estimate, for about 3 to 4 months, based on completion of the community benefits agreement for that project. So with that, Mr. Chair, if you'd like to call the names that you have on your list.
Yes, sir. I have all the applicants here, but I don't have, let me see if I have the individual broken down list, just to make it easier.
And we do have some changes, so if you'd like, I can go from my list.
Yeah. I'm sorry? Let's go with this list. You go ahead. I have everybody here, but if you can read it off quickly, then we
I
can
know
go
we
on.
have had some changes, so I think we can start with Ms. Amber Boskers.
And you said this is for there's one spot and various applicants, and then we have the 2 in the separate vote.
Correct,
All right,
and
thank
so
you
you
very
have
much.
2 separate lists.
Yes.
The members that we're gonna introduce first are gonna be for the standing committee.
Okay.
And you will pick one out of
Yes,
that first list.
All right, please come up, state your name. You have 2 minutes to make your presentation.
Good morning, Council. Thank you for the opportunity to be here to introduce myself and show my interest for this position. My name is Amber Boskers. I live down on Shell Point Road, down in Ballast Point community of South Tampa. I am a co-owner of Kohler House Remodeling Co. We are a women-owned and operated general contracting and residential remodeling business. And we've been in the Tampa area serving our residents for 10 years. I'm a new owner. My partner and I acquired the business in December with the goal to 10x it in 5 years, and we've already 2x'd it. I completely concur with Mayor Castor's summary of the community comments of the survey that was sent out. Tampa is a phenomenal place to live, and it's a phenomenal place to be an entrepreneur. So our clients are those that live in the towers. We service condominiums, we service single-family homes, small businesses, and nonprofits. And some of our projects right now are in Channelside, along the towers of Bayshore and Hyde Park. We are all about the client experience and pouring into our community, and this is another way for us to do so by giving back. I'm actually a new resident as well. Our family moved here from Arizona 3 years ago, and we are still fully getting comfortable and enjoying all the benefits of Tampa. We are definitely those that work, play, and spend our time down in the downtown core. And the interest that I came to apply to this position was my background is in real estate investing. And so I'm heavily involved with the real estate investing community, and that's how the Gasworks project came up, and it sounds like a fascinating project, and we were super excited about the urban density that is coming to the area, the parks, just the community building of the residents that are here, and then the encouragement of bringing new residents to the area. So I have a background and I have the commitment to serve this community in this area, and I just thank you for the opportunity
Thank you very
to be
much.
here.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Buskers. The next candidate is Ms. Alicia Savas, followed by Mr. Ryan Meisner.
Good morning, ma'am. Please state your name. You have 2 minutes.
Hello, good morning. I am Alicia Savas, and just for time's sake, I will read off my notes. Otherwise, I can normally speak just open-mindedly. So I speak to you today in relation to being considered as an at-large member for the CBAC. I am currently a real estate broker associate over at Caldwell Banker at Sparkman Wharf, and I am also a downtown Tampa resident in the River Arts District over nearby Curtis Hickson Park. I am interested in joining the CBAC for 2 specific reasons. Actually, a variety of reasons, but 2 main reasons. One being because of the fact that I am a broker associate, I do deal with buyers who are considering moving to the Tampa Bay area on a regular basis. They provide me with feedback and share what it is that they are seeking when it comes to the development of our city and what it is that will be the deciding factors that play into the part of them actually purchasing a residence in the Tampa Bay area. The other reason, main reason why I am interested is because I am a member of what is called the Downtown River Arts Neighborhood Association, also known as DRANA. I know some of you have been very welcoming to actually speak to us as members. And our mission of DRANA is to represent the residences, the businesses, and the visitors of the Tampa Bay area. And as a board member, we seek out to achieve that mission and to always seek opportunities for us to be able to bring forth what the residences are saying, as well as the businesses and the visitors, directly to our council. So if you were to elect me, appoint me as the at-large member, I will have the ability to bring those comments and interests directly to you all and the mayor. So thank you for your consideration.
Thank you very much. All right, next.
Thank you, Ms. Savas. Next is Mr. Ryan Meisner, followed by Mr. Camilo Soto.
Good morning, sir. Please state your name.
Ryan Scott Meisner. I'm seeking the appointment for the at-large seat on the Community Benefits Advisory Council. I've been a Tampa resident since 2003, a downtown Tampa resident since 2013, graduate from USF with a master's in business and a career in the financial sector. I'm the treasurer of the condo board of Sky Point. We're a 32-story high-rise on Ashley Drive with about more than $3 million budgetary and reserve allocation dollars, and the treasurer of DRANA, Downtown River Arts Neighborhood Association. I'm also a frequent contributor to the Skyscraper Cities Tampa page, which is a great resource for all of the developments in the Tampa Bay area. If selected for the appointment, I would be a huge proponent of height. The proposals for Rome Yard are fantastic. I love the idea of assisted housing along with market rate properties, but Rome Yard will top out at around 135 feet. Additional floors on future developments could bring in potentially $1 million market rate units contributing property taxes to the city, as well, depending on the location, assessment funds to the downtown Tampa partnership. If selected for the appointment, I'd be a huge opponent of what's called value engineering. This is a process in construction that lowers costs, increases the profits for the developer, but it does nothing architecturally to benefit the community, the Tampa City skyline, or the walkability score of the neighborhood. And these are issues I've always believed should be addressed at the DDR, the Design District Review stage of development approvals. And these are something as simple as artistic parking garage screening, lighting, and potentially required first floor retail, which would greatly benefit the neighborhood as a whole. I have many more ideas, but no time, so I want to thank you for the opportunity and thank you all for all that you do for the city. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, sir. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Meissner. Next, Mr. Camilo Soto, followed by Joseph Robinson.
Good morning, Council. Mr. Shelby, Madam Clerk, Camilo Soto, your friendly neighborhood Tampeño. You may recognize me from, I guess, various facets. I work with the Tampa Heights Civic Association, advocacy for flood mitigation, particularly in Tampa Heights. Or Ms. Henderson may recognize me from the love that we share for a local coffee shop that we always bump into each other at. In any event, I am seeking appointment to this at-large position on the CVAC because as a Tampeño, I've seen the growth that Tampa has experienced. I came to Tampa in '97 to do my undergrad at USF, and just the transformation that has taken place within this city has been incredible. And my background as an attorney, I work for a local government here in the Tampa Bay area. I also have experience as an urban planner, and I think my experience, my 17-plus years experience as an attorney and as a planner would be a big value, would bring lots of value to the CBAC. Ironically enough, I've volunteered in Tampa. I've never really put my attorney urban planning skills to direct use for the city of Tampa. I volunteered for the Tampa Heights Civic Association. I've tried to get certain policies in place, but an opportunity to do that on this committee would be incredible. And I would absolutely relish the opportunity to be able to bring that value, bring that expertise forward with this committee. In any event, I would be remiss if I didn't take the opportunity to at least give you one final update regarding flooding in Tampa Heights. The FDOT project, improvements to Tampa and Florida Avenue have been scoped down. The drainage mitigation that was proposed originally is no longer going to be part of the project, and I would encourage the council to keep cognizant of that in future projects, in particular the extension of the streetcar.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Soto. Mr. Joseph Robinson.
Mr. Mayor, and I have Jessica Franklin, Stephanie Harrison Bailey, and then Lori Harris. Are they on the list?
They're on the list.
Okay,
They're
make sure
virtual.
that, because two are virtual, so. Good morning, Mr. Robinson.
Good morning,
Say your
City
name.
Council. You have my resume, so you have my background, but I'm just saying, I've been a resident of the City of Tampa for 65 years. This community benefit, this project is for the whole city, not for one part. It's any redevelopment anywhere in the city. You know I'm on the Sports Authority, you know I'm with the West Tampa CRA, and I've been involved with community benefits agreement, the very first one, Rome Yard. I helped develop it, I helped review it, and I'm implementing it now. I also have provided consulting for the St. Petersburg Raise benefit agreement that they're over there voting on now. So I have a lot of experience as a licensed professional mechanical engineer since 1982. I've served community free, no charge with my expertise, and I think that I would have added value. I am also familiar with the ordinance of Article 11 Community Benefit Program of Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3, and the benefits that it requires the developers and the way that they're supposed to be presented and the procedures for evaluating those benefit agreements. So I think that my background in community benefits agreement with the very first one at Rome Yard, which has been very successful in West Tampa, my background in working and giving back to the city of Tampa and my knowledge of the city of Tampa as a whole, not just downtown, not just West Tampa, not just East Tampa, but the city as a whole, including up there in North Tampa as well. So I would like to be considered for this position, and I would ask for your favorable consideration based upon my commitment and my desire to bring my expertise and my background to work on, as for 2 years, it's only 2 years for the at-large, so that I would be able to bring that expertise. So this is a startup council, and I think you're gonna need someone that has some experience in dealing with city ordinances, dealing with city programs, and dealing specifically with what the community wants and what that particular community benefits that they want to get pursuant to the ordinance. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, sir. All right, who do you have next on the list? If not, I have the 3 individuals.
Correct. That
All
are
right,
online.
so I have Lori Harris. Yes, ma'am, come on up. And then I'm going to go to the virtual speakers. Good morning, please state your name.
Good morning, Chairperson and council members. Lori Pampilo Harris. I am thankful for this opportunity to be considered for the CBAC. You may have already done some research on all of your applicants, so I won't dive deep into my career other than sharing I spent 14 years with Habitat for Humanity International. I then turned my efforts locally, and I was a senior advisor to the Honorable Mayor Buddy Dyer at the City of Orlando, and also served under former Mayor City of Austin, Mayor Adler. And I have also served in similar capacities throughout the country in working around community engagement projects, including the most recently with the Obama Presidential Center. I'm currently providing local, state, and federal elected officials with advising on processes and increasing high-level engagement with directly impacted members on complex issues, and equipping policymakers like yourself with an understanding of how to create and implement strategies that actually foster equitable opportunities for all. And the cornerstone of that approach is something called equity-centered community design and decision-making. And this means not only are we recognizing the diverse needs of our community, but actively involving those who are most impacted by the decisions that we all make in the policymaking process. The overall question in creating equity-centered community design and equitable outcomes is how are we maximizing benefit and minimizing harm as we consider a project in our community. So we're able to answer those questions through authentic and transformational and meaningful community engagement, where the sharing of decision-making power is between communities directly impacted and local government. I have had the honor and blessing to be able to be a part of some really incredible work across the country. But I should also share, I'm a person who identifies as being indigenous, a person who is formerly homeless, a person who has been displaced, a person who has had extreme poverty. I believe that my unique blend of professional expertise, lived experience, and personal commitment to equity would bring value to the process that you guys are bringing to the CBAC. Thank you
very much. All right, we have Jessica Franklin online. Ms. Franklin, if you're online, go ahead. Please state your name. You'll have 2 minutes. If you would unmute yourself.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I deeply apologize, everyone. My name is Jessica Franklin, but I have lost my voice, so it will be very faint. But I just want to say that thank you for having me here today. And I have been a member since downtown since 2018. I now live at Sky Point. I absolutely love living in downtown area. My passion for Tampa has gone way beyond just how I feel, but what I do on a daily basis. I have seen the growth, and I want nothing more than to bring more dollars to this downtown area, along with being able to allow people with vast varieties and to be able to bring people to Tampa. My drive and passion to give back to the community is what fills my cup. Not only would I be honored to be a part of this, but I feel like my drive and passion can bring so much to Tampa, and it even can sell more people to be in downtown Tampa. I would like to be considered for this position, and some of my background also describes that, from me being on multiple committees from Drana, Sky Point's engagement committee, to being on the Westville Advisory Committee, Dean's Committee. I've lobbied on the Hill before, and I volunteer within multiple organizations with Interbay, from the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, Make-A-Wish, St. Joe's, and I work almost every other weekend at the Strass Center. And I've also worked in real estate for years in multiple different roles. And I feel like the more growth we could bring to this committee and downtown, the better. And I just want to thank you guys again. And I'm so sorry for my faint voice, because I did not want to contaminate everyone today.
Thank you very much. All right, our final speaker is Stephanie Harrison Bailey. Stephanie
Mr.
Harrison
Chair,
Bailey, if you're on.
If I may,
Yes.
the next standing candidate is Ms. Hannah Hughes. Ms. Stephanie Bailey is a candidate for the Gas Works.
Oh, then, okay, all right.
CBAC.
So that, we'll hold Stephanie Harrison Bailey. I apologize, and that'll be for another one, so.
I don't know
okay.
if Ms. Hughes is online. I know she had requested to change.
Ms. Hughes is not online. She
Okay.
did provide a written comment that I submitted
Yeah.
to everyone
The clerk
yesterday.
submitted a written, an email to us, so I've received it, we all received it, so.
Excellent.
All right.
And lastly, we have Ms. Mathilde Jarrett, who also submitted a statement of interest, and it was in your packet.
All right.
That concludes all the standing member candidates.
So at this time, will you hand out a ballot and allow us to vote?
If you prefer to vote on these standing candidates first, and then we'll move on to Gas Works, I think would be preferable.
All right, let's vote on this and then because GasWorks is very short, correct?
Right.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. Madam Clerk, do you have the ballots? Okay. Are you going to be tallying, or is it going to be Ms. Fox knows? Okay. Great candidate.
No problem.
All right. And while the clerk tallies, do we want to move on to the GasWorks one, since it's just a few people?
Yes, sir. We can start with Mr. Grant Melick.
Grant? Come on up. Please state your name.
Did I mispronounce your name?
Good morning, sir. Please state your name.
Good morning, City Council. My name is Grant Connor Mielek. I'm here to ask for consideration for appointment to the CBAC. I feel that I am well qualified in light that I am an 18-year resident and small business owner in Ybor City. In fact, my business, GCM Insurance and Risk Management, also does insure the streetcar system and was recently just nominated as top 25 fastest growing businesses in the country. Wealth of knowledge, I've also served on the YCDC for 8 years, everything from board member all the way up to treasurer, vice chair, and then eventually chairman. I have a very good pulse and feeling for Yborites and in general of how things kind of function in the city. I am an ardent supporter of Mr. Shaw's project. I have met with the gentleman. I believe this opportunity is once in a lifetime for the city of Tampa and for Ybor City. If GasWorks succeeds, that means all communities from Ybor City to GasWorks to Tampa Heights to Water Street to downtown will all be one committed and universal city and community. A strong Ybor City can only mean one thing, that the city of Tampa is strong, vibrant, and healthy. If you have any questions, please stand to answer.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, council.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think we can go now to Ms. Stephanie Harrison Bailey.
Okay, Stephanie Harrison Bailey, if you're on, please unmute yourself. You'll have 2 minutes.
Hi there, Stephanie Harrison Bailey here. Good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead.
First and foremost, I know that many of you know my name. Sorry, I'm not there in person this morning. I'm sure I'll be there for something next week. I wanted to speak to my interest on the ad hoc project-specific member for the gaswork projects, really for 2 reasons. Number one is my love of Ybor. I am an Ybor resident on and off since 2010, full-time since 2019. I am on the board of the historic Ybor Neighborhood Association. I own property in Ybor, and my business is also located in Ybor. I do daily walks around the neighborhood. I get to talk to all of my neighbors. I like to think that I have a pretty good ear to the ground in terms of what residents are how residents are feeling, what their mood is, pertaining to new and potentially exciting things that are happening in the neighborhood. And the other reason that I have applied for this position is my professional background. So at this moment, I am an entrepreneur doing micro development, so kind of the opposite end of the scale from gasworks. I'm doing things that would fit in a parking spot in gasworks. But I understand how bigger developments work. I have a background in architecture and real estate development construction. So I know all of the puzzle pieces that need to fit together for a successful project. And I also understand, given my love of Ybor and given my professional background, I understand the balancing act that's going to need to occur as gasworks gets off the ground, the balance between this huge growth and the potential for this entirely new neighborhood that will connect Ybor with some other modes of Tampa, but also the support that's going to be required from and for the existing community.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Clendenin, you have a question for the applicant?
I do. Thank you, Stephanie, for being online and applying for this. I mean, clearly, you're a well-qualified candidate, and we all appreciate your contributions to Ybor. My only concern is that you, even in your application, you talked about projects that you have that will be affected by these projects. Did you feel like that you're able to shield yourself from the self-interest or conflict of interest?
I do. Thank you for that question.
Okay, thank you.
I think that's an important question, so thanks for bringing it up.
Thank you very much. Mr. Marin, is that everyone?
Lastly, Mr. Chair, you have a statement of interest from Ms. Shannon Jordan in your packet, as well as the application for Mr. Gavin Maxey. And that concludes the names.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we'll have the ballot. Do you have a tally on the other? You do? Okay, if you want to go ahead and read that.
All right, we have Lori Harris has 1 vote from Councilmember Hurtak. Ryan Messner has 2 votes from Council Members Carlson and Clendenin. And Joseph Robinson has 4 votes from Council Members Vieira, Miranda, Henderson, and Maniscalco.
Is it
4 votes?
4 votes is sufficient? Congratulations, Mr. Robinson.
Motion for a resolution.
All right, can I get a motion for a resolution for the approval? Motion from Councilmember Henderson, second from Councilmember Vieira. All in favor? Aye. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Enjoy your day. All right, let's vote on these next candidates. And thank you to everyone for applying and showing interest, and thank you for being here today. I know you've sat for quite a while, but we appreciate you taking part in the process. All right, while the clerk is tallying that, I just need a correction. When I asked for the motion for item 125 to be continued to October 4th, it's supposed to be October 3rd. Can I get a move? We have a motion to correct that 125 continuance to October 3rd from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Vieira. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, that is Corrected for the record. Yes, ma'am. Mr. Marin, is it 2 positions
That
available?
is correct. We have 2 positions for the ad hoc
Yeah.
membership.
Two positions.
I didn't get it. Yeah. And we will wait for Councilmember Henderson to come back to us. All right, while we wait for the tally and for the full council, can we go to item number 5 real quick? This is for the appointment of the mayor of Mr. Buzansky to become a member of the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee for a 3-year term. Is Mr. Buzansky here? No? All right, we have a motion from Councilmember Clendenin. Do we have a second? Second from Councilmember Vieira. This is appointing Mr. Buzansky to the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Question?
Yes, sir.
If I may, is this gentleman related to Phyllis Basansky? Does anyone know?
I don't know.
Alan, is he related to Phyllis Basansky?
I don't know.
Okay.
It has to be.
I would think so, Phyllis and Sheldon. If so, I mean, I'd vote for him anyway, but
I should know that because.
That's why I asked, yeah.
I've known him for so long.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep. My mother knew her pretty well.
Sheldon's a trip too.
All right. Councilmember Henderson, we had to vote for.
You messed up your vote.
No, we all did. Most of us did. You need to select one more person on your ballot.
Oh, yeah, it was 2 for this one,
Yes,
sorry.
ma'am.
You know, the rest of us.
Well,
got it
good,
right.
and that makes it a lot easier for me too, because I was struggling.
We all screwed up, except for Lynn, and she reminded us that she was the only one that.
Who got it right? Her tech? Of course she did.
All right.
No, she's got it.
I have Grant Melick with 5 votes from Councilmember Hurtak, Maniscalco, Vieira, Miranda, and Henderson. And Stephanie Bailey has 6 votes from council members Carlson, Henderson, Hurtak, Vieira, Miranda, and Clendenin. And lastly, Shannon Jordan has 3 votes from Councilmember Carlson, Henderson, and Maniscalco. So your 2 candidates will be Grant Melick and Stephanie Harrison Bailey.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Council.
Congratulations.
Motion for resolution, please.
So moved.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have a motion for this resolution of approval from Councilmember Miranda, second from
Henderson.
Councilmember
No,
Henderson.
vice versa.
Oh, Councilmember Henderson with the motion for the resolution and second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Congratulations. We're going to go to consent agenda. We have items 6 through 14 with the exception of 10. Councilmember Vieira.
So moved.
We have a motion from Councilmember Vieira, second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you. Yes, Chair, I have, I move items for the Neighborhood Community Affairs Committee, items 15 through 33. We're pulling item number 27 for discussion.
All right, we have a motion from Councilmember Henderson. We have a second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor? Aye. Councilmember Vieira, you asked to pull this item for discussion, 27, correct?
Oh, yeah, sure. I just wanted to, speak on this issue briefly, if I may, Mr. Chair. This is a really good program I wanted to highlight because it deals with an important issue that we're dealing with in part with our Racial Reconciliation Commission, which is moving forward. It's on returning citizens, something that I don't think that local governments do nearly enough on as we should. I'm really happy to say that under the Castro administration, we have made gains in that regard, and I think that's wonderful. You know, every year nationally in the United States, about 750,000 individuals leave the prison criminal justice system, and within 3 years, about 2/3 of them will reoffend. And that's a major issue of equity, of justice, of public safety, of families, of communities, and we really, really need to do a lot. You know, we've been able over the last few years to put in incentives for contractors to hire returning citizens, to ban the box, and so this represents a nearly $250,000 investment in a partnership that we worked on with County Commissioner Gwen Myers, in putting forth about almost $250,000 for job training for returning citizens. What I'd like to see eventually, and I do plan on motioning for this, is for the city of Tampa to have a formal Office of Returning Citizens. I think that would be a wonderful thing. The city of Boston has that, and other cities do, to have a city where we have at least one individual who people can come to and who is that point person for residents here on issues involving economic opportunity, healthcare, voter registration, restoration of rights, so that they can refer folks off to the proper institutions. And I know that our Racial Reconciliation Committee is going to be working on that issue as well. So, so that's all. Just wanted to speak on it. This is a wonderful thing. The contract was awarded to A. Brown Ministries, Return to Work, and A. Brown Ministries, to me, is an amazing institution. And so if I may, I'll be glad to move it.
All right, we have a motion, but Councilmember Hurtak, yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to, for the public, note that it might be $250,000 like investment, but the city of Tampa and this is only putting 100,000 in.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yeah,
just wanted to clarify.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Clendenin.
I have a question, because in public comment, there was talk about how the money's spent, and was there a restriction on spending this money for just people that are freshly out of prison versus people that are already in the community that maybe have been?
You know, I'm unaware of that. I can inquire on that for Ms. Bullock. I'd be glad to do that. And see with Robert Blunt and other individuals on the board there, how it's planning on being spent. All I know is it's going to be, you know, funds to make sure that folks who are leaving the prison system, who just want to work hard to put food on the table for their families, can do so. In terms of what group within there they're going to be going after, I'm
and I know it's not a great deal of money, so I know it's, you know, but it's, yeah, I'd just be curious to know that, because I think there is a need, or an unmet need, to, you know, within the community for.
Yep. And this is to me a single or a double, and I look forward to hitting a home run. And like I said, I really hope that we do get an Office of Returning Citizens in the city. I think that would be great.
It'd be nice to see state and federal.
Yes, sir.
Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to piggyback off of Councilmember Clendenin. That's a very good question. Our funds actually comes from, the $100,000 comes from social action, so it shouldn't be restricted in any way, and that is a way where we could address what our public comment Valerie Burton came up and said today. We could easily address it that way, because that money doesn't have the restrictions as the possible grant. So something that we can take into consideration with the Racial Reconciliation Committee for sure.
So maybe staff has heard our comments loud and clear?
All right, and I can check if I can.
Councilmember Vieira, you have the motion. Is there a
Yes, sir, so
second?
moved.
Second.
Second from Councilmember Henderson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, that takes care of item number 27. Councilmember Hurtak, 34
Yes, through 49. I move items 34 through 49.
We have a motion from Councilmember Hurtak, second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Councilmember Miranda, you're up with 50 to 59. We have a motion from Councilmember Miranda, second from Councilmember Henderson. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Councilmember Carlson, 60 through 79.
Yes, I'd like to move 60 through 79.
We have a motion from Councilmember Carlson, second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor?
Aye.
Mr.
Any-
Chair.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, were you finished? I cut you off.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to vote no on number 80, so could we just vote
All right,
separately
we'll
on
do
that?
a separate vote. Councilmember Clendenin, would you move 81 through 88?
I move items 81 through 88.
All right, we have a motion from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, on a separate vote, Councilmember Clendenin, would you move 80?
I move items 80, and then I have a question for Councilman Carlson. What's your concern with that?
I'm not in favor of,
Is there a second?
Oh, second.
Second from Councilmember Vieira. Go ahead.
yeah, I'm not in favor of these micro-mobility devices at all. You know, I just came back from 4 different countries. I've been to like 20 or so of the top cities in the world in the last year or so, and the best cities in the world don't have any of this. This is stuff for B and C level cities that are trying to catch up on transit. I was just in Bangkok. They have one of the most advanced mass transit systems in the world. It's really embarrassing that we're focusing on things like this. The public doesn't like them, and there's a lot of questions.
Sign me to that list.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that input. I think probably, I'm gonna end up voting in favor of this because of, you know, last minute, but I think maybe we could have further discussion in this next 12 months about the future of transit in the city and what we're looking at and what we're supporting with public funds.
None of the best cities in the world have these.
Right, I know, I agree.
And so and they've all gotten rid of them.
No, I think it's problematic, and I think in the next 12 months, I think we should probably be looking at this as a longer-term agenda item, but I appreciate you bringing that up.
Thank you.
All right, we have a motion from Councilmember Clendenin on item 80, second from Councilmember Vieira. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Motion carried with Carlson voting no.
All right, we need a motion to set 89 and 90 for the public hearing. Motion from Councilmember Miranda, second from Councilmember Vieira. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Councilmember, this takes us to our public hearings. I don't want to cut off, make it all choppy. I was thinking about breaking for lunch at 12 and coming back at 1:30. Would anybody be against breaking now for lunch and coming back at 1 and going right into these public hearings?
It's fine.
Is there any objection?
Can we knock out anything else?
It just seems like some of these are just second readings.
Yeah, why don't we knock out some of those?
All right, because I know 91 has to come after 100 and 101, so.
Yeah, but we have all of these second readings we could just get through and let these folks leave.
Okay.
I think a lot of these people are here for simply second readings. I
Okay.
recognize some faces.
I concur with Councilwoman Hurtak.
All right, any objection to just keeping on and going on? All right, let's do that. Let's get a motion to open all public hearings, 9:30 and 10.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilmember Miranda. We have a second from Councilmember Henderson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, that includes the 9:30, 10, and 10:30 public hearing. Just make sure we didn't have a 1:30 time certain. All right, the public hearings are open. 91 is going to be heard after 100 and 101, so we're going to kick it off with item number 93, which is a second reading. Item number 93. We didn't make a motion? Okay, can I get a motion to continue item number 92 to August 1st?
I thought we already did that.
August 1st of 20.
Yeah, we did at the beginning.
Yeah, we did that, 92, we continued.
Oh, okay, so motion to continue from Councilmember Miranda, second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that's continued to August 1st at 10 a.m. Item number 93. Is there anybody here for item number 93? Is there anybody in the public that wishes to speak on item number 93? No? Can I get a motion to close?
So moved.
We have a motion to close from Councilmember Henderson, second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Councilmember Miranda, would you mind reading 93?
Mr. Chairman, item number 93, file number E2024/8, Chapter 2. Ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption. An ordinance related to the government of the city of Tampa, Florida, submitting to the electors of the city proposed amendment to the revised charter of the city of Tampa of 1975, an amendment to amend section 6.01 to revise the residency requirements of the city officers to rely only on the elected officers providing an effective date.
We have a motion from Councilmember Miranda, second from Councilmember Vieira. Please record your vote.
Motion carried with Carlson and Hurtak voting no.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Item number 94.
Good morning, Council. Abby Feely, Interim Administrator, Development and Economic Opportunity. Item number 94 is the text amendment cycle that came before you on first reading on June 27th. I was not in town that day. Unfortunately, I missed that first reading, but I would like to address some matters this morning, specifically in relation to the Ybor parking section of the text amendment cycle. At the first reading, Council directed a couple of things. One was a change to include landscaping back, and the second was a directive to meet with the Historic Ybor Neighborhood Association, which we did. What I'm asking for today is that the EBOR portion of this text amendment cycle be pulled. And I've already asked legal to prepare an ordinance that reflects that in order to take care of a few things. After we met with the HINCA group, I went back, I reread all of the language, and there are a couple ambiguities in the language, as well as a couple changes that are going to be requested to be made. We also needed clarification on the landscape motion because there are 3 different landscape standards for parking lots in the city code. There are 2 within EBOR, there is 1 in the central business district, and there is 1 citywide. So we could not accurately reflect the intention of that motion in the changes and still proceed with second reading today. That being said, I did bring those with me. I don't want to hold up the whole cycle because the soccer stadium, alcoholic beverages in this cycle, the accessory dwelling units are in this cycle, some other cleanups are in this cycle. But I am committed to immediately handling this, and I would ask that council then set it to come back before you on August 8th at 5:01 p.m. as the first item. I did not want to try to adopt this ordinance and then come back 2 weeks later and adopt it a second time. I just don't think it's in the spirit of the way that we have progressed with this text amendment over the past 18 months together.
Councilmember Hurtak.
Yes, and I have a few things that I want to, that I haven't had a chance to speak to legal about regarding this. So I'd like to see if there's a way that we could bring the EBOR parking lot portion back after lunch, so I have a chance to finish my conversations with legal. But by and large, Ms. Feely and I have been talking about this, and I have spoken to the neighborhood association. They are aware of this. This only moves this 2 weeks. It does not move it to a full new cycle, so it will still be happening as quickly as possible. But because of some of the landscape questions and changes, and that's some of the things I wanted to talk about before I move that. I'm not quite sure how we can do that, but if we could bring it back right after lunch. Mr. Shelby, how can we do that?
Can we just hold this item until after lunch?
Yeah.
Let's just hold
Yeah,
this
let's hold this
until-
item.
Let's
Yeah.
hold 94 until after lunch, so
Yeah, I
questions can be-
apologize. It's been a hectic day.
All right.
I'm
we're
here
gonna-
all day, so I'm happy to come after lunch.
We're
Thank
gonna
you.
revisit 94 when we come back after lunch. That'll be first on the agenda when we come back. So we'll go to item number 95. The hearing remains open. Item number 95. Do we have, there we go. Yes, sir.
Good morning, council. This is Danny Collins with your planning commission staff. Today I'll be presenting second reading for TACPA 2401, a map amendment for the properties located at 307 North and Westland Avenue and 2109, 2111, and 2113 West North B Street. The requested change of future land use from residential 20 to residential 35. Council approved this ordinance at first reading on June 27th. With that, I conclude my presentation. Available for any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Collins? No? Yes, sir, Mr. Malloy.
Council, good morning. Not here to waste a minute of your time. If nothing's changed since the last session, I'm just here to answer any questions.
Please state your name for the record.
William
even though I
Malloy for
said
the
it.
record, pardon me.
Thank you very much. Do you have anybody in the public that wishes to speak on item number 95? Sir?
Move to close.
No, motion to close from Councilmember Hurtak, second from Councilmember Miranda, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Councilmember Vieira, would you mind reading 95?
Yes, sir.
And did you review the record?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, no, absolutely with this. An ordinance, I move an ordinance amending the Tampa Comprehensive Plan, future land use element, future land use map for the property located at 307 North Westland Avenue and 2109, 2111, and 2113 West North B Street and from residential 20, to residential 35, R35, providing for repeal of all ordinances in conflict, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
Second. We have a motion from Councilmember Vieira, second from Councilmember Miranda. Please record your vote.
Motion carried unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Item number 96.
Good morning, Council. Ron Wigington, Legal Department. Item number 96, excuse me, is a second reading of an ordinance that is amending ordinance number 2003-23 to confirm compliance with the condition to construct a north-south alleyway and to delete the requirement that the two parcels on either side of the vacated right-of-way be developed as one project. This was approved at first reading unanimously with Councilwoman Hurtak being absent at vote. I'm available to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Questions or comments? Councilmember Hurtak, you were able to
I
review
have
the
reviewed the record.
All right. Do we have anybody in the public that wishes to speak on this item, item number 96? We have a motion closed from Councilmember Hurtak, second from Councilmember Vieira. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Councilmember Henderson.
Yes, file number C02-26, an ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption. An ordinance amending ordinance number 2003-23, passed and ordained by the City Council of the City of Tampa on January 23rd, 2003, which vacated, closed, discontinued, and abandoned those right-of-way in the vicinity of 711 East Henderson Avenue, as further described below, amending and/or deleting certain conditions precedent as set forth in Section 5 thereof in order to facilitate development of properties adjacent to the vacated right-of-way, repealing conflicts, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
Second.
We have a motion from
Henderson Ave.
Councilmember Henderson with the motion, Councilmember with a sung second. Please record your vote.
I remember this one.
Motion carried unanimously.
Thank you very much. The next are quasi judicial, so if you're going to speak on items 97 through 110, please stand, raise your right hand, and we will swear you in.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you are about to provide is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll kick it off with item number 97. Yes, sir.
Steve Michelini is representing the petitioners and respectfully request your approval. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Any questions or comments? Nope. Do we have anybody in the public that wishes to speak on item number 97? We have a motion closed from Councilmember Hurtak, second from Councilmember Vieira. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Councilmember Clendenin, would you mind reading 97?
Sure, an ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption, an ordinance rezoning property in the general vicinity of 7105, 7109, and 7111 Kissimmee Street and folio numbers 138665-0000 and 138666-0000 in the city of Tampa, Florida, and more particularly described in Section 1 from zoning classifications, CG Commercial General and RSSO Residential Single Family to PD Planned Development Residential Single Family Attached and Detached, providing an effective date.
We have a motion from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Miranda. Please record your vote.
Motion carried unanimously.
Thank you very much. Item number 98.
Steve Michelini, representing the petitioner, respectfully requesting your approval, and I'm here to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments for the petitioner? I see none. Is there anybody in the public that wishes to speak on item number 98?
Move to close.
All right, we have a motion closed from Councilmember Henderson, second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Councilmember Hurtak, 98.
Yes, file number REZ 23-94, ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption. An ordinance rezoning property in the general vicinity of 8026 Interbay Boulevard in the city of Tampa, Florida, and more particularly described in Section 1 from zoning district classification RS50, residential single family, to PD Planned Development Residential Single Family Detached, providing an effective date.
Hold this,
Wait
please.
just a moment. Yes, sir?
Thank you. Motion to reopen the public hearing, please.
So moved.
We have a motion to reopen item number 98 from Councilmember Vieira. Do we have a second? Second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor? Aye? Yes.
Is Mr. Thomas online from staff?
And did you raise your right hand and were you sworn in? You're muted, sir. You were? Okay.
Was he sworn in?
Thomas,
Did you
you're
swear him
muted.
in, Madam Clerk? Well, then I think, well, he was on, but could he unmute himself?
Unmute yourself, sir.
Yeah, he's not. He said he cannot.
He cannot unmute himself?
I need to get to mine.
Wait,
Eric,
there you
I
go.
didn't, I was outside.
There we go. Sorry, staff had me muted. St. Thomas Development Coordination.
All right, Sam, can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you are about to provide is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
And Mr. Thomas, in your role, have you had the necessity to have these site plans certified by second reading?
Yes.
And,
Site plans have been certified and delivered to the clerk.
and was that true for number 97 as well?
Yes, sir.
And is that true for all the other items before City Council today for second reading on quasi-judicial matters?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if there's anything else that you need to add particular to any of the cases, would you please signal to the clerk or in some manner be able to be recognized so we can add that to the record? Thank you. If you
Will
could.
do.
Is there anything else you wish to add in relation to this hearing?
Would you all like me to introduce each case or just move through them as you are now?
Do you have anything additional to add between that has changed or anything? I'll recognize
Nothing
you.
has changed. There is, for, I believe, one case, there's an update from the applicant that was supposed to meet with the residents, and that applicant is there in person to provide an update on that.
Okay, I'm gonna call your name just out of precaution on each case. You know, if there's nothing, there's nothing. If not, we'll go there. So we're good to close the hearing?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Motion to close item number 98 from Councilmember Clendenin. Do we have a second? Second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor? Aye. Councilmember Hurtak, once again.
My reading still stands.
Okay.
So my motion stands if anybody wants to second
And I
me.
still second it.
We have a motion. It was read in its entirety by Councilmember Hurtak, second from Councilmember Clendenin. Please record your vote.
Motion carried unanimously.
Thank you, council.
Thank you very much. Item number 99. Mr. Thomas, do you have anything, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, do we have an applicant for 99? Yes, ma'am. Please state your name.
Yes, my name is Angela Halber, 101 East Kennedy Boulevard. I'm here for the applicant for the rezoning application for 3900 Marguerite Street.
All right, any questions for the applicant? Do we have anybody in the public that wishes to speak on item number 99?
Motion closed.
Motion to close from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor? Aye. Councilmember Carlson, 99.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to move file number RZ 23-114, ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption, ordinance rezoning property in the general vicinity of 3900 North Marguerite Street in the city of Tampa, Florida, more particularly described in section 1 from zoning district classification RS 50 residential single family to PD plan development office building professional, providing effective date.
We have a motion from Councilmember Carlson, second from Councilmember Miranda. Please record your vote.
Motion carried unanimously.
All right, item number 100.
St. Thomas Development Coordination, item number 100. Oh, I'll go ahead and I'll turn it over to the applicant.
Elise Batzel, Stearns Weaver Miller, on behalf of the applicant, we're available for any questions that you may have.
Any questions? Yes, Councilmember Hurtak.
Wasn't this the one that we were supposed to have a community meeting?
No, no, ma'am.
No.
Oh, no, that's 101, I believe.
Yeah, that's later on.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Is there anybody in the public that wishes to speak on 100? We have a motion to close from Councilmember Miranda. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Councilmember Miranda, would you mind reading 100?
Mr. Chairman, item number 100, file number REZ 24/22. Ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption, an ordinance rezoning property in general vicinity 17302 Morris Bridge Road and folio number 59222/0004 in the city of Tampa, Florida, and more particularly described in zoning districts 1 from zoning district classification PDA/PDA, plan development alternative to PDA, plan development alternative residential single family detached and attached, providing an effective date.
We have a motion from Councilmember Miranda, second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor? I'm sorry, record your vote.
Motion carried unanimously.
Thank you very much. Item 101, and then we take 91.
Elise Batzel, Stearns Weaver Miller, on behalf of the applicant. Our development team is here to answer any questions that you have.
Any questions or comments? Is there anybody, Mr. Thomas, do you have anything to add to 101?
No, sir.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody in the public that wishes to speak? No? All right, we have a motion closed from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Vieira. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Councilmember Vieira.
Yes, sir. Move an ordinance rezoning property in general vicinity north of Pictoral Park Drive and K-Bar Range Parkway, folio numbers 59222-0003 and 59224-0000 in the city of Tampa, Florida, and more particularly described in section 1 from zoning district classification PDA, plan development alternative to PDA, plan development alternative, residential single-family detached, providing an effective date.
We have a motion from Councilmember Vieira, second from Councilmember Miranda. Record your vote.
Motion carried unanimously.
All right, item number 91. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Council. Susan Johnson, Velez Legal Department. Item number 91 is a development agreement that sets forth the timing and phasing of transportation improvements related to the rezonings that were just approved as items number 100 and 101. Happy to answer any questions. If council, it's council's pleasure to approve the agreement, there is a resolution that we would ask that you adopt.
All right, any questions for Ms. Johnson Velez? No? Is there anybody in the public that wishes to speak on item number 91?
Motion to close.
We have a motion to close from Councilmember.
Second.
Oh, I'm
We have to
sorry.
do- we have to do
Move
the
to
second
resolution. So we have a motion to move the resolution for item number 91?
Don't we have to do the second for hearing first?
We just asked for
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so we can close the public hearing before we move the resolution? I didn't get to it yet. We have a motion to close the public hearing from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Vieira. All in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion to move the resolution? Motion from Councilmember Hurtak.
Second.
Second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
And
opposed?
again, I was just distracted for a minute, Mr. Chair. Did you also, just for the record, ask for public comment
Yes, I
on that particular one? Thank you.
We're all getting high.
All right, that takes care of 91. We'll go to item number 102. Yes, sir?
Steve McElhaney, representing the petitioner, respectfully requesting your approval. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments? Is there anybody in the public that wishes to speak on this item? Mr. Thomas, do you have anything to add?
Yes, sir.
We have a motion closed from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Henderson. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Councilmember Henderson?
Yes, I move file number REZ 2413, an ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption. An ordinance rezoning property in the general vicinity of 3108, 3110, 3112, 3114 West Varn Avenue in the city of Tampa, Florida, and more particularly described in section 1 from zoning district classifications RS 60 residential single family to PD plan development residential single family detached, providing an effective date.
We have a motion from Councilmember Henderson, second from Councilmember Miranda. Please record your vote.
Motion carried unanimously.
Thank you, council.
Thank you very much. Item number 103. Yes, ma'am, please state your name.
Bryce Pinson with Half Associates here representing the applicant. I'm just here if you have any questions.
Any questions for the applicant? Do you have anybody in the public that wishes to speak on item number 103?
Second.
We have a motion. Mr. Thomas, anything to add?
No, sir.
Motion closed from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Henderson. All in favor?
Aye.
Councilmember Clendenin, 103.
Ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption, an ordinance rezoning property in the general vicinity of 5016 North Florida Avenue and 104 West Wilder in the city of Tampa, Florida, more particularly described in section 1 from zoning district classifications SHRS Seminole Heights residential single family and SHCI Seminole Heights commercial intensive to SHPD Seminole Heights planned development restaurant and bar or lounge, providing an effective date.
We have a motion from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Miranda. Please record your vote.
Motion carried unanimously.
All right, item 104. This is the one that was to meet with the community. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead. Please state your
Good
name.
afternoon, Council. Catherine O'Donnelly Sternberg for the applicant. And we held a community meeting as we had discussed at the first reading. We held that on June 27th and had a nice group of folks who turned out and had a great conversation. It was very positive and I think got a lot of clarity around what the application is and is not. And we actually had a gentleman who was here waiting this morning named Eddie Feliciano, who was kind of the point person, and he was here to speak positively about our application and express support, but he had to kind of duck out for some work obligations. So unfortunately, he's not here this second to speak to y'all, but we ended on a positive note and with folks supporting us. So I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Any questions? No? Anybody in the, yes, sir.
No, and I thank you for that. I know the folks who were here, that's a really, how should I say it, a textbook way that things like this should be handled, which is that, you know, people come here, they hear what's happening. Sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong, sometimes they're relying on misinformation, sometimes they're not relying on misinformation. But in this case, I was glad to see that, including my good friend who you met, Mike, or Colonel Mike Escudi, who's one of the nicest guys I know. So I'm glad you got to meet him. He's a stellar man, so thank you.
All right, anybody in the public wish to speak on this item? No? And happy belated birthday to you, right?
Thank you, you too.
All right, thank you. Facebook. Motion to close. How I know everybody's birthday.
If it wasn't for Facebook, I wouldn't know anybody's birthday.
I think we're birthday twins, I think.
I'm the 13th.
Oh, I thought we were, that's
No?
close.
Close. Motion closed?
Yes.
Second.
We have a motion closed from Councilmember Vieira, second from Councilmember Henderson. All in favor? Aye. 104, yes, ma'am.
File number REZ 24-23, ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption. An ordinance rezoning property in the general vicinity of 8748 Hidden River Parkway, 14090 River Edge Drive, and folio number 034776-1204 in the city of Tampa, Florida, and more particularly described in Section 1 from zoning district classifications PDA Plan Development Alternative to PDA Plan Development Alternative Office, Business, Professional, and Medical, Research Activity, Clinic, Retail Sales, Hotel, Residential, Multifamily, and Single-Family Attached, providing an effective date.
We have a motion from Councilmember Hurtak, second from Councilmember Miranda. Please record your vote.
Motion carried unanimously.
Thank you very much. Item number 105. Do we have an applicant? Yes, ma'am?
Hi, Council. Catherine O'Donnell Sternberg for the applicant again. This is the companion development order that goes with the rezoning. And I should mention also that Joe Tagger is here, so if there are any questions for my client, he's also able to speak about anything around the history of the project.
All right. Any questions from council members? No. Mr. Thomas, did you have anything, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. Is there anybody in the public that wishes to speak on this item? Nope. Can I get a motion to
Motion
close?
closed.
Motion closed from Councilmember Miranda. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor? Aye. Councilmember Carlson, 105.
Yes, sir, thank you. I'd like to move 105, file number DRI 24-5971, ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption, ordinance of the City of Tampa, Florida, approving a 10th Amendment to a development order rendered pursuant to 5 Chapter 380 Florida statutes for the Hidden River Corporate 6 Park, a development of regional impact DRI number 108, providing for 7 severability, providing an effective date. Was that correct? 7 severability?
I think there's some extra numbers in here, the 5 and the 6 and the 7.
Okay.
Yeah, this was an error. Don't worry about that number.
Okay, we're fine.
We have a motion from Councilmember Carlson, second from Councilmember Miranda. Please record your vote.
Motion carried unanimously.
All right. Item number 106. Yes, ma'am. Please state your name.
Hi, council members. My name is Giselle Moda. I am here on behalf of the applicant, James Lisker, who's unfortunately cannot be here today. Sorry. Just here for any questions.
Any questions? Mr. Thomas, anything to add?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do we have anybody in the public that wishes to speak?
Second.
We have no one. Motion to close from Councilmember Miranda, second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Councilmember Miranda, 106.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. File number 106, REZ 24-37. Ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption. An ordinance rezoning property general vicinity of 1505 West Arch Street in the city of Tampa, Florida, more particularly described in Section 1 from zoning district classification RS 50 residential single family to RM 18 residential multifamily, providing an effective date.
We have a motion from Councilmember Miranda. Do we have a second? Second from Councilmember Clendenin. Please record your vote.
Motion carried unanimously.
Thank you very much. Item 107. We do have one registered public comment speaker, Carlos Ramirez. Is he on? Okay, make sure that we swear him in. All right, yes, ma'am.
Julie Mandel with the law firm of Gray Robinson. You have heard this
on first reading twice because as a result of our last hearing, some members of the public came forward with some concerns. And as a result of that, we made the following changes, and I just want to make that statement for the record for anybody who's listening. We have a condition on our site plan that already prohibits outdoor amplified noise, as well as we have placed on the site plan a limitation that the restaurant needs to close 11 on the weekdays and 12 on the weekends. And there's also an additional condition on a proposed deck area to allow outdoor eating, that there will be no bar placed upon that area. We put those on the site plan. Those have been proceeding forward, and we're happy to answer any additional questions.
Any questions? No. We have Mr. Carlos Ramirez online. Please raise your right hand. We'll swear you in, sir. You're here for public comment.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you are about to provide is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Go ahead, sir. Please state your name.
Thank you, sir. Carlos Ramirez, North Hyde Park Civic Association. Before I start, can I share my screen?
Sure. Go ahead and we'll bring it up.
Let me see. I have 3 screens, so I apologize. Which screen is showing now?
All right, we have one that has the site plan with the red and the yellow.
Perfect. All right, I'm ready if you want to start my time.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Again, good morning, council. We met with the developer, with Mr. Knowles and his wife, on July 8th to discuss the concerns that we had. We are happy that they added those notes regarding the operating hours and also amplified sound. We did have concerns with some of the outdoor spaces. So I just kind of wanted to go over those really quickly. The outdoor space over here is a walking area. We feel that this is inappropriate right now. What we're looking for when there's an outdoor zone for the community is to have some kind of a separation, some kind of enclosure to be able to separate certain uses. This one is right next to the parking lot, and this is kind of like the access into the backside of the building. This is kind of a picture I took this morning from Oregon going into the side. As you can see, this is a 5-foot sidewalk, not really wide enough to do anything there. And again, according to their plans, they are not doing any kind of construction, according to note number 4. So we would be approving a wet zoning there for just that walkway. The other issue we had with the zoning on the west side is that it's right next to this parklet, which is owned by NoHo Flats. As you can see, this is a public use parklet with walkways. They have a grill set up. They have grass areas. This is the way it looks from the edge of that property into the applicant's property. Our concern here is that this is not going to be enclosed right now. It's uneven ground. They're not doing any kind of construction here. So we're going to be, again, giving them carte blanche approval of this wet zoning that is very close to this parklet, very close to these folks' homes. We feel that there's going to be people kind of going back and forth between the two uses. So we're going to have, people using or drinking in public areas here on the sidewalk as well. So we did have those concerns according to this. So the board has met. We are okay with the indoor. We are okay with the zoning on the north side. We are not in support of the outdoor seating on the rear side and on the west side next to that parklet. As you guys understand, these wet zonings continue with the property. So even though the applicant has 20 years of great service in Soho, which is an entertainment district, this is a residential area, and eventually this property may change hands. So we have to look out not just for the people that are living in North Hyde Park today, but also the people that will be coming in the future. So that is why we do not support the outdoor seating on this red area here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else for public comment? Ma'am, do you have a rebuttal?
Yes, I just want to make a couple comments. First of all, and I appreciate and understand folks raising these concerns. We had similar concerns that were raised at the second reading, which we turned back into first reading to alleviate the concerns of one of the neighborhood associations. So while I say I understand what he's saying, the idea of this deck being there has been in place since the first public hearing, which was May 20th, and this is the first time I've actually heard that that was an issue. I do know that my client did have conversations with Carlos, and I can't recall his last name, and we did indicate to him at that time, he did, that we had put all these conditions in place in order to alleviate those concerns. The park that he is speaking about is not a park. It is private space for the residential units next door. And so actually, I would say that creates more of a buffer than it does create a problem, since members of the public wouldn't have the right to just go jump over the fence and go over there. That would be a violation of their private property. So it is not a public park area. And finally, let me just say, this is the center of the city. This is right in front. This building has the trail going right in front of it. It is intended to be an outdoor, indoor area. And the deck hasn't been constructed. If it can't meet building code requirements, then it won't be constructed. But since we were in this process, if they do construct it, as opposed to having to come back through the process for two small business owners, we wanted to go ahead and acknowledge that that could be a future plan. But as I've stated, there is no outdoor amplified noise. There is no bar that will be on any deck that is constructed outdoor. This would simply allow people to take their drinks from the indoor to the outdoor if that area is constructed, which is in line with what it is we are trying to accomplish in this part of the city. And I think we have put in place a number of conditions that would ensure that it wouldn't become problematic. And the final thing I will say is there are other areas in this West Tampa development that do have outdoor seating areas, do have outdoor amplified noise that has been approved. So, and this is really not intended to be a party place. This is intended to be a restaurant where you have an opportunity to eat, ride your bike up, eat. If you have a dog, you can, if they have the outdoor space, you can have your dog outside, and to be able to do all those things. Again, I respect that the community has concerns, but we have really taken immeasurable steps to try and alleviate those. And this is getting very difficult for this property owner to continue to keep continuing these items so that they can address more concerns that are coming up through the process. And since we do have enough items in place, I think, which protect the neighborhood, I would ask for your favorable consideration. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Is there anybody else or other comments? Mr. Thomas, do you have anything to add? No?
Yes, sir.
All right, we have a motion closed from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Councilmember Vieira, you're up with 107.
Move an ordinance approving a special use permit SU2 for alcoholic beverage sales, small venue consumption on premises only, making lawful the sale of beverages regardless of alcoholic content, beer, wine, and liquor at or from that certain lot, plot, tract, or land located at 1500 West Cass Street, is more particularly described in Section 2, providing that all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict are repealed, providing an effective date.
We have a motion from Councilmember Vieira, second from Councilmember Clendenin. Please record your vote.
Motion carried unanimously.
All right, we're going to stop at 1:10 and break for lunch and then continue from there. So next is, item 1.
I have to eat your arm if you...
That's an Italian schedule. I think it's like 1 o'clock is Italian lunchtime. 108. Is there anybody here for 108? Mr. Pressman, are you here for 108?
Yes, second reading. Happy to answer any questions or concerns you might have.
Any questions for the gentleman? Is there anybody in the public that wishes to speak?
Second.
Wait. Mr. Thomas, do you have anything to add, sir?
No, sir.
All right. Yes, ma'am. You're here for public comment?
Yes.
Please state your name.
Tatiana Morales on behalf of EMB Tampa.
Please raise your right hand.
Oh, yes.
Just where you are.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
So I specifically wanted to speak about this project because I lived in that neighborhood. And when I went back and looked over the hearing, there was a lot of concerns from the neighbors of how would we live next to multifamily developments. And when I went to that property, because I used to live 3 minutes from there, that was where I lived for 10 years and got priced out of. because a lot of people were moving in and there weren't that many options. And right now in the Terrace Park neighborhood, which a lot of people don't go into, it's in the University Planning District, it's right above USF. The USF area needs more multifamily housing. We need more options. And the concerns about multifamily development are ones from people that look at their neighborhood and only assume single family is there. But if you literally go to that property and turn to the right, there's multifamily literally just spread out amongst single story buildings right next door. And if you turn the corner, there's a ton of giant buildings that are apartment buildings. So I just want to reiterate, the concerns from the community about how I live next to multifamily development are ones from people that are just used to seeing what they live in. And as someone that's used to living in apartments are very normal in Terrace Park. This is an area where a lot of university students like myself wanted to settle down, but a lot of them can't because they cannot afford or there aren't enough options. And so I really do support this project. It's near 3 bus lines. It's near a lot of different options. It is very nice to actually bike within the Terrace Park neighborhood. And there are a lot of people that really do desperately need this housing. And I want to emphasize that even though places are giving a month off for rents, that doesn't mean we've moved our way out of the housing crisis. And we have to really look at this project as saying the Terrace Park neighborhood, that neighborhood association likes multifamily development. This isn't like a neighborhood that doesn't want anything. This neighborhood knows the growth that is coming and wants it. So as someone that got priced out of that neighborhood but lived there for 10 years and loves Terrace Park and would love to go back, please support this motion. Please support this project, because I do think it's important that we challenge the neighbors that are saying, I can't imagine living next to a building and saying, hey, turn the corner. Multifamily is everywhere. It is a part of the core and the fabric of our city, and we need to support more of it so our future can be upheld. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do you have any rebuttal, Mr. Pressman?
Very short, just to clarify, at the original hearing, there was just one woman who was concerned about height. We've reduced the height, we've reduced the density. That was the only neighbor that had come forward. She was not present at the second hearing that we had, which you continued.
Thank you very much. Mr. Thomas, anything to add?
Motion closed.
No, sir.
No. Motion closed from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Vieira. All in favor? Aye. Councilmember Henderson.
Yes. Thank you, Chair. File number REZ 2384, an ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption. An ordinance rezoning property in the general vicinity of 5006 East 97th Avenue and folio numbers 142834-0025, 142830-5075, 142380-5050, 142830-5025, and 142830-5000 in the city of Tampa, Florida, and more particularly described in Section 1 from zoning district classifications RS60 residential single family to RM18 residential multifamily, providing an effective date.
We have a second from Councilmember Clendenin. Record your vote.
Motion carried unanimously.
2 more.
All right, Mr. Manassi, please state your name.
Good afternoon, City Council. Ryan Manassi with Johnson Pope. I'm here to answer any questions, should you have any, for this item.
Any questions for the gentleman? Nope. Do we have anybody in the public that wishes to speak on item number 109? Sir, are you coming up? No? Okay. Motion closed from Councilmember Clendenin, second from? Councilmember Miranda, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Councilmember Clendenin, 109.
Ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption, an ordinance approving a special use permit SU2 for alcoholic beverage sales, restaurant, consumption on premise only, and making lawful the sale of beverages regardless of alcohol content, beer, wine, liquor, on that certain lot, plat, or tract of land located at 226 South Boulevard, 825 West Platte Street, and 217 South Fielding Avenue, Tampa, Florida, as more particularly described in Section 3, provided that all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict are repealed, repealing AB 122008, providing an effective date.
We have a motion from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Miranda. Please record your vote. Thank you very much.
Motion carried unanimously.
All right. Item 110. Yes, sir. Please state your name.
Good afternoon. My name is Terry Haley. I'm representing the applicant for today's agenda item number 110. Just to let you know, all minor modifications and amendments were added to the site plan. We're here for your second reading and hope for your approval. Available for any questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions for the applicant? Nope. Wait, is there anybody in the public that wishes to speak on item number 110? We have nobody. Mr. Thomas, anything to add?
No, sir.
All right, motion to close from Councilmember Clendenin. Do we have a second?
Charlie did.
Second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor? Aye. Councilmember Hurtak.
File number AB2-24-10, ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption, an ordinance approving a special use permit, SU2, for alcoholic beverage sales, small venue, consumption on premises, and package sales, off-premises consumption, and making lawful the sale of beer and wine at or from that certain lot, plot, or tract of land located at 6102 South MacDill Avenue, Suite F, Tampa, Florida, as more particularly described in Section 2, providing that all ordinances or part of ordinances in conflict are repealed, providing an effective date.
We have a motion from Councilmember Hurtak, second from Councilmember Clendenin. Please record your vote.
Motion carried unanimously.
Thank you very much, sir. We're in
Thank you.
recess
Enjoy your
until-
lunch.
Thank you. We're in recess until 1:45.
That was kind of efficient for a budget.